Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright. 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 Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright.
All right. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to another class. Hope. My name is Corey Smith. No, Corey's on his way, so I'm going to feel it for a second. Hey, y'all, today's Corey Smith's birthday. In the chat group, if you can, say happy birthday to Corey Smith. He's probably coming in a little, tipsy. He probably was partying all night. He's actually at my house last night, but I'm going to make up my own story. But Corey's coming in, and he'll be here in a second. The first few slides are his, so I'm gonna just talk about a couple things until he gets here. That's relevant. As you guys can see, the slide today is called to going back to the basics. Um, when I start my session of the class, I'm the first 10 minutes. I'm going to talk about the basics. I had some hell of experiences on this 2 week with black businesses, and I have to remind you guys the basics is so damn important. And also, when you do the basics, don't look for praise. You know what I mean? Like I take care of my kids. Don't look for doing the basics when it comes to your business because the basics is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to push you. It's going to be another weight you have to carry. But it's not something you should run around here looking for praises for. It just doesn't work that way. Um, Also, too, while Court is on his way, go ahead and text your friends and tell them the class has just got started. So jump on in online. Um, I was supposed to take somebody, but hell, we'll get to it. Um, so just make sure you do that. Here's the other thing too. He's on his way. I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm gonna talk about this affirmative action real quick. Um, Remember I told y'all last week, stop focusing on low frequency because you gotta go high frequency when it comes to race. Because while you're focused on low frequency, big shit's gonna change, and all of a sudden you'll wake up one day and realize everything's different, and it's different because at the end of the day, you didn't give it attention. You were distracted with low frequency stuff. Affirmative action, as we all got know, was knocked down by the Supreme Court. I'm going to challenge you guys to go read about affirmative action. It's not the way it's been redefined in the media is the same way all these terms are all these terms that were invented to identify racism historically. They've been reinvented by social justice, by popular culture. He's here. I'm gonna give me 1 minute. I'm gonna give the mic over to him. So, um, affirmative action originally was designed to prevent a school from keeping you out. It wasn't a program of entitlement, and somehow it turned into the language of entitlement. And there's reasons for that, and there's just different decision points that things happen. But um, I was reading the justice response of why they voted down affirmative action. It was implicit racism and perspective challenges. But a couple things. For everything that happens in society, look at it as an opportunity. Doesn't mean you wanted that opportunity, but look at it as an opportunity, right? We know HBCUs are suffering because all the black kids are running to the other schools. HBCUs turn up. That's number one. Two, black folks, we're going to have to value educating our own. Stop outsourcing education. Stop letting white women fly in from the Midwest and educate your kids. Let's just keep the shit 100. Three, black men, here's a chance to be part of the conversation. Run to the schools every chance you get and participate. Third thing is, I don't know if you guys paid attention how they position the Chinese community or the Asian community against the black community with affirmative actions. Black folks, don't fall for that shit. I get it. First of all, there's, was it 2 billion plus Asians in this world? If not more, right? In China alone, just in China alone, right? The Asian community is a huge freaking community. All right. If I told you you had $2 billion and I said I'm gonna borrow 200, do you even give a shit? Would you even notice it? It's not possible you're gonna notice it, right? If they find 200 Asian people going, hey, enough of this affirmative action, stop, don't play that game. I was just at the gym the other day. I walk into the gym. This is after the affirmative action was announced. I walk into the gym. Was this Asian dude in the gym, and he's hitting his arm on the bar this way, and he hitting it on his arm on the opposite way this way, and his arms are bruised up, right? So I'm watching him, and then he gets in front of the punching bag, and he's doing these punches, right? And he's hitting with both his hands. That punching bag is just moving, but it doesn't look like he's using that much strength. So I said, okay, Pops. Now, mind you, I'm saying Pops. He's only 3 years older than me, but sometimes I forget my age. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, Pops. And he's like, you know what? I go, by the way, he goes, you see my bruises? I was like, yeah. I'm thinking, you got mental health problems or something? Hey, I'm being real. I'm from Phoebe Stokely. I don't know nothing about that. Right? I didn't grow up with Jackie Chan and nobody. So I was like, damn, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, He's like, he goes, do me a favor. He goes, hit me in my face. Now, he's a smaller Asian dude, and I'm feeling somewhat guilty, but I'm thinking, you know what? I'm kind of weird. I do that, right? so I'm gonna throw a punch. He goes, no, really, like take your stance and just jab at me. Go on and get at me. Man, I threw the first punch and he deflected it. And I threw the second one with a little bit more force and he caught it with them damn forearms. It felt like I hit a fucking pole. It's like, holy shit. And my hand bent back this way. You heard it just like I can't even crack my knuckles no more, but something cracked, right? I said, what the hell? And he said, that's why I do this every day. He goes, yeah, there's bruises, but when I'm fighting, I'm using my hands as blocks. He goes, so then as I get closer and I'm blocking with my arms, I'm breaking your hits with my forearms, and then as soon as you hit me, I reach over and I hit you right in your eyes. And he hit, so he's like, I'm gonna show you. Let's do it again. But this time now, I'm a little sensitive about hitting him hard, right? So at this point, I'm about to jab him like I'm jabbing like if my daughter was 14. She's like, come on, Dad, let's fight. I'm like, okay, girl, right? So I'm jabbing like this. And I hit this one jab, and he just took the momentum of my jab off his forearm, and his hand was right this close to my eyes. I said, God damn, okay, that's nice. Okay, and then he's like, okay, now take your inner forearm, and let's just start slapping him. I only got one slap. I quit, right? Bow! God damn it, man! like, what is it? Did you get steel arms? He's like, once again, this is what we do, right? I said, oh shit, he goes, look, I go, so are you a master or something? Or you have your art? He goes, I actually have a seafood. He calls it seafood right there. He's like, seafood, tell him Crazy Rick just taught you something, right? And I go, well, how long you been fighting? He's like, 35 years. God damn. He goes, look, I go, so like, are you one of the greatest? He goes, there's no great. It's only practice. If you're not practicing, there's no such thing as there's no goals or height. It's only practice. I was like, that shit's tight as fuck. And as entrepreneurs, when I keep telling you guys, this shit's practice. There's no masters in this game. It's just a practice. And like I said, trust me, my wrist would tell you he was real. And it wasn't like he told me, hit me right here. Like he's like, just do your thing. You know what I mean? You're not getting that little black swag here. You want to show you some little whoop, whop. Fuck my hand up. so the reality is that there's two things too. I meet Asian cats all the time who's a magnificent people. Magnificent people. I like a lot of Asian cats. At the gym, hella Asian cats. There's hella cool Asian women I talk to, Asian men I talk to. And of course, there's some assholes. But even if you talk to people in the Asian community, they're not all the same people. Like, what the fuck is that? That's kind of a narrow way of seeing the community. You'll see Asian people standing in the poverty line and Asian people who won't speak to you in the .com. And they sometimes don't even like each other. So do not let media pit us against somebody else, because remember that binary thing and the thing that this against that, this against, we like those stories as human beings. Don't fall victim to that, right? If Asians stood up against us, if Asians say they didn't care, give a shit about affirmative action, that's their prerogative. It's our position to protect, grow, and develop our communities. Stop expecting folks. I think Bob Johnson said it's important. If you look at politics, he said, don't develop long-term friends and don't develop long-term enemies. Focus on people who support long-term goals. That means I jump parties, whoever's gonna support my long-term goals. Stop looking for friends and enemies. It's just not, the world's too big. You go into a whole group of people and want them to all be your friend, all be your enemy. Both of those ideas are ludicrous, right? Don't ever let somebody turn you against Latino community, the Asian community, other black community, white community. That's not your focus. You're not gonna win that game. That's the only thing you do is go home and destroy your soup. You remember the whole concept of the white lady said something real racist to the dude, and dude went home steaming, and he realized the white woman went home and ate her soup and was happy, and he realized the only person who was mad was him, right? So the same thing. Don't let nobody take away your soup. Affirmative action should highlight how we're underserving our communities. Two, stop assuming, affirmative action was originally designed to raise up the leaders in communities. Stop thinking somebody's gonna create your leaders for you. It's that simple. So I don't like affirmative action being knocked out the way it is because our people, um, slavery is real, systemic racism is real. But we can't keep partying every weekend and then expect somebody else to handle our business. All right. With that being said, Corey's in the house. He got some cool glasses on. I think they're cool. I can't see. It looks like they reflected some cool lights or some shit. But anyway, he's in the house. By the way, everybody, can we just get a happy birthday, Court? Because he thought he was gonna come up here and nobody gonna say happy birthday. I just ain't gonna sing it, so we'll just say happy birthday. Everybody say 1, 2, 3, happy birthday, Court.
Happy birthday, Corey.
All right, all right. Those at home, let's load up those chats with a happy birthday galore. We got some cupcakes in the back. Some of y'all might be happy. Y'all better not bring your ass in class. I said we have cupcakes, and then you can get in your car and drive to class. That's some tacky shit. But anyway, we got cupcakes in the back, pizza on the side. Everybody, let's have a good time. Court, so all yours, baby.
What's popping? All right. What's going on? Let's I was digging in my seat listening to that. Get good. Let's jump right in though. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Let's hit the recap and let's talk a little bit about what we've already discussed, but a couple things real quick before I want to do that. Because it applies a little bit to the traits of higher spectrum thinking, as well as ego and delusion. So before we talk about the higher spectrum thinking, here's a couple more tips. Some of this is super simple. When you talk about in terms of, there's a lot of things in the Black community revolve around resilience, right? We say we're a resilient people. Black folks are resilient. We're resilient. We celebrate resilience a lot, right? We celebrate resilience. We feel good about our resilience. We reward each other for resilience. We praise each other for our resilience. But from a wolf's perspective, an entrepreneur's perspective, all resilience is getting back to one. That's it. That's all resilience is. It seems like a lot. It seems because you might have to come through the fire, you might have to come through hell, you might have to overcome crazy obstacles, but a logical, stoic thinking remind yourself that you're just back to square one. That's what resilience is. You haven't took any steps forward. You haven't had any gains. You just brought yourself from a fucked up situation based on probably a decision you made in life that took you some steps back. And so the hard work to get to resilience, that's good. That's dope. But just remember that the dope part about it is now you're back to square one. You ain't got nowhere. It's not to take away resilience. It's just reminding you exactly what resilience is. I don't really celebrate resilience that much. Some of my friends, they say they fuck with me as friends because of how resilient I am. I don't. That's the only reason. Man, Court, I seen you lose everything, and I seen you come back. That's dope. I appreciate that. But really, that means I'm making some fucked up decisions somewhere along my path that requires me to keep getting smacked back down. And yes, I got this muscle, but I want to grow. I want to continue to grow, and I don't want to do that no more. So, like, resilience is better than being non-resilient? Of course. Absolutely. You got to have that muscle. But Black people, resilience is in our DNA. Like, that's the name of our game. The idea is to be on a higher spectrum in terms of our thinking. And that comes from first principle and second order thinking and thought experiments and strategy and planning, those things. Being disciplined in your behavior. Those are the things, not just discipline your behavior, but discipline your thinking too. Those are the actual things that'll keep you on a trajectory. Now, life is full of ups and downs. That's a given. You're gonna have ups and downs in life. But I just want us to pull away a little bit in terms of our emotional connection to the word resilience. It's a tool that you have in case of emergency. You break it. You know what I'm saying? Second thing, higher on the terms of higher spectrum people, higher spectrum thinking. Do good. That's hella simple, but just do good. Do good. Just do good. If you want more, do good. Do good to people. And in your daily life and all sorts of micro, macro, and meta situations, just do good. Just do good. Man, way more is given to those who do good. And it may not seem like it a lot of the times. But you also don't know what's behind the curtain on a lot of situations. But what I do know is that when your purpose is strong enough to where you want to do good more than just yourself and your family, things open up, opportunities open up, and you start thinking on a higher spectrum. Because you have to. You're responsible for more. You start internally, you are responsible for more people. You got a purpose. I got a goal. I want to help impact and positively lots of people. So the decision I make today impacts that decision in the future. So I got to not do that. The behavior I have currently, I got to change that because I want this to happen. If somebody has a dream that they want to be a judge, I want to be a judge. And that dream is so strong because they want to impact positively the world. They want to be a judge. And they had that dream since they was a little girl, and that dream just fuels them. It gives them fire. They dream about it. Everything revolves around it. The classes they take in school revolve around it. The girl who wants to be a judge, I just want you to think about her at a college party, what she's doing right now. Just from a thought experiment, from a probabilities perspective, do you think she's doing the same thing as a girl who don't know her major? That's what purpose does for you. It shapes every little detail of your life, every little detail. Damn, I want to do that, but you know what? I want to be a judge. And if it's some cameras out, I can't let that affect. Because when they do the background checks on you, they search everything. And I know that. So, I can't do that. I want to. Every decision, how you move, what jobs you take, who you prescribe as your mentors, who you learn from, everything. So when you move with purpose in what you do, regardless of what it is, if that purpose subscribe to the idea of others than you, you're going to move different. And it forces you to have higher spectrum thinking. It just does. It happens automatically. It's like when you have a child and that child start cussing. Next thing you know, you're like, damn, should I say fuck in front of this kid? Maybe I shouldn't. And then all of a sudden, automatically, you'll start catching yourself if that's what you decide to do. It just happens. Because your purpose is to better the people around you. Purpose is bigger than you. You gotta, some of this shit is so simple, but it's so hard for some. That's why some of the stuff we teach, it sounds super simple. And it even like, oh yeah, that's easy. I could do that. That's nothing. I can. Psh. Or tell me the hard shit. Give me the detail. Give me the intricate philosophy of business so that I can learn it. And somebody tells you, here's one, do good. Be like, psh, next. But that actually is probably in the top 10 of entrepreneurial axioms that allow people to really move with purpose. Do good. Do good. You'd be surprised the butterfly effects that happen when you do good. And that's not just expecting anything to happen back. It's just when you're moving randomly in life. I was reminded of this during my time in survival mode. Because when I got out and like the smoke start clearing and I start going back to like buying the ladies' groceries behind me and like paying the person's toll behind me and the shit that I was doing before, like I was like, what the fuck was I doing? I just like doing it. That's the way I move. And if I'm not, I just feel weird. I just feel weird. And then those seeds just randomly come back. Just in the worst, like in the worst time, sometimes that seed will come back. Get a text and height of my scarcity and survival. And it says, hey, Courtney, you don't remember me, but I ran out of gas on the side of the road and you helped me and my mom sit in your car until AAA came. Like, I did that? I fucking forgot. Just want to say thank you. Damn, that's dope. Who did that? Oh shit, I did that. Because the me now would never do that shit. I'm too busy. I'm in scarcity mode. I'm in survival. You see what I'm saying? Like, that is how you get, that's how you become that's how the money comes. That's how the money pours in. I'm not trying to get too weird about it, but the energy you put out is just, that's how it comes in. So this ain't philosophical, this ain't long words, but do good. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. The person you do good to or around, they may be related to whoever. All right. Next, traits of high strength. So we talked about redundancy and runway. That's my next tattoo. Redundancy and runway. As an entrepreneur, at growth level thinking, because it's hard to grow when you're running real thin on the edge of everything. Your goal is to build redundancy and build a runway in your business. Because if any event happens, which we can't foresee, but in business, in life, it's gonna happen. And if you ain't preparing yourself for it, then you're leaving it to chance and luck and all that shit that an entrepreneur don't need to be leaving it up to. Second, who remembers the top 3 ways to expand the spectrum? Who remembers the 3 ways?
Immersion is one of them.
Immersion. That helped. That's a
Only other two right now.
That's a step skipper. Immersion. The synergy that you get off of hanging around people who are doing it is a quick way for you to move up the level of spectrum. Because peer pressure is a motherfucker. So you know how strong peer pressure is? It's also strong on the other side too. Give Shakina the mic.
The other 2 are knowledge and practice.
Knowledge. So reading. If you're stuck right now, you might not be reading. If you're stuck, you might not be reading. Because unlocking new forms of knowledge in your mind is a great way to expand your thinking in all areas. Have you ever went to your closet and was like, damn, it ain't nothing in here. I can't put an outfit together. It's just whack. And then you went and bought one item and brought it back, and your whole wardrobe opened up. And now I got to match this. I can match this off of this one thing, one pair of shoes, one T-shirt, one whatever. That's how knowledge is. You learn one piece, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it matches with this, and it matches over here, and matches over here, and you're hella excited about it. So reading, learning. And then the third one was practice. 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 Get out in the field and try it. Get out in the field and try it. That illustration, that example was dope. What Nana was talking about with the Asian cat, because in martial arts, you don't know if your move gonna work in the real world. You gotta try it. I watched one with Mike Tyson, and he was doing something with some art, and the guy demonstrated the art with Mike Tyson on camera. And he said, Mike Tyson, grab my arms. And then he did something. He said, grab my arms again like this. And Mike Tyson was like, dude, in a real situation, nobody's just going to come and grab both of your wrists. The fuck you talking about? So why are we practicing that? That's why you got to get out in the field and try it. You got to try it, practice it. Practice it in small situations, in small conversations where it's a little money on the line, medium-sized money, just a random stranger on the street. Practice your disciplines. I tell you this too. So in survival mode and in scarcity mode, you are in default. You basically go in auto mode to what your default is. And what your default is what you've practiced. Period. And whatever you're in, so if you are in routine or rhythm of just scrolling social media and watching TV all day and just bad habits and you're going to run to that. Because you're practicing for those situations. It's the same thing as runway and redundancy. Runway and redundancy for money and systems in your business, but practice creates runway and redundancy for events, crashes, problems, errors, situations. And that runway and redundancy that you created by your practice will pay you back those dividends in those type of times. Does that make sense? Number 2, starting a business takes a degree of ego and delusion. Absolutely. Why? Why is that true? What are the numbers? After the first year, how many businesses die? Huh?
50%.
After the first 5, how many die? Huh? Another 25%. By year 10, it's scraggly out there. Scraggly. So starting a business in and of itself, we underestimate how tough it is, overestimate how long it's going to take, overestimate how much money we're going to make, underestimate the difficulty planning everything, because ego and delusion tells us we can do it. Have you ever talked about your business to somebody and they say, all you got to do is just, when I hear that, I want to shut the fuck up. All you got to do is just, I know you ain't done it before. But when we start a business, that's kind of how it goes. Very few people will say, there's a possibility that this thing this idea that I have or this strategy that I have can take legs. So I'm going to pursue it. And I'm going to pursue it with a safe amount of caution. Nobody does that. They had these big ideas, these big dreams, and they go for it. They go for it. So we can't change that thought process. What we're trying to say is you have to understand at a certain point, you have to think from a stoicism's perspective. And you got to get there fast. And if you don't get there, then you might you put yourself in a position to get hijacked fast by your own emotions, by your dreams, by your passion, by so many things that could tug and pull at you. Business, a lot of times, is not what you do. A lot of times, success in business is what you got to stop doing. Remember we talked about that? It's stuff you got to stop doing, stuff you got to let go of. Because I look at it as gravity. It's gravity. So you can float, but you have so many things that are just pulling you down, little rocks pulling you down. So some of us with the little rocks just swim harder. We swim harder. So we forget that we got things tugging on us. We just swimming. But if you ever stopped, you'll start sinking. You ever try to take a break, you start sinking. It's what you got to stop, what you got to let go of. What's this? Oh, this is that passion shit. Oh, let me let that go. Let me try it. What's this? This is a story that's holding, this story that I created when I started. But now it's slowing me down. Let me let this go. Because it says, maybe Shabisha, can you help me?
Yes. Your stories you tell yourself don't have to be true to create governing beliefs. You only have to believe them.
Okay, so just stopping there. It says, to create a governing belief, the stories you tell yourself, they don't even got to be true. That's the cold part. And governing belief are so deep that you don't even realize you believe it. You don't even know it exists a lot of times. You have to get really introspective, and do work to find it a lot of times. But the fucked up part is it don't even got to be true. It just has to be a belief. That's also why we talk about the basics. It's also why I put myself out. That's why I put myself out there and make myself look crazy sometimes and tell these fucked up ass stories, because it's not about how I look. It's about if I can get it across to you in a way that you can get it. That's all that matters. I don't give a shit what y'all think about me and perfection or whatever. I don't care. I just will hope that, all right, I'm gonna throw this one at you and just hope. And if one person can get it, I'm happy, because it's worth it. Because it's all about it's all about how you get the information and let it sink down into you. So the idea for you with governing beliefs is, or stories in general, if you are stuck or you need to get from point A to point B and you need a story to get you there, gives a fuck if it's true. It just doesn't work for you. If you believe it, does it work for you? But you have to be willing to let it go when it doesn't. A lot of people go hard in today's time trying to prove Christianity, right? You got a lot of people who they'll fly to all the different sites where it's said in the Bible to try to dig up the rubble to see if the actual thing is there, and was the Sodom and Gomorrah here, and they do all this work to try to figure out the actual factual pieces of history to make them feel better for whatever reason. But the question is, do you learn something from the story? Does it work for you? Can you extract enough from the story to help you continue to progress. The moment you stop progressing from the story, you have to have the courage to ditch it. Gone. Bye. Have it no more. Next. No. I mean, finish reading.
This is the foundation of delusion.
Okay. This is the foundation of delusion. Did you get that? Because this is huge. So if you want to understand the foundation of delusion, this is the formula above that. So if you ever wondering why this whole movement we in and people identifying as shit and it's all different, and you like, why? The foundation of delusion means it does not have to be true. You just have to believe it. And it has to be governing so deep down where they're looking at you like you crazy. What are you talking about? And that's where the narrative gets tight, because you have two people who are on two sides of a belief, and they're on two completely different spectrums. All right, keep going.
When someone questions these beliefs, it gives you the same feeling as if your life is being threatened.
So if your governing belief is being threatened, the same chemicals release that if you were in life and death situation. Same chemicals. So it's muscles that we have to work at as entrepreneurs to quiet that down and say, no, in actuality, I'm just sitting here in this room having a conversation with this person. And all she did was say she didn't like my product. Don't worry. There's 8.4 billion other people that you have an opportunity to sell to. Maybe if you took her feedback, maybe you can learn some stuff. Like, you got to walk yourself through that, because your fight or flight and the governing belief system is going off like an alarm, makes you feel threatened, and shit, you don't hear nothing. Your IQ goes down, your emotions go up, and you're scared. So that's why beyond the ego and delusion of building, you have to work on your emotions. That's why the first half of this class talks about this type of shit. That's why we go so hard on the emotional side, the ego side, because you cannot build a business if your emotions are imbalanced. If you don't know thyself and can't figure out ways to maneuver in this world and grow and expand and manage your emotions and think like a wolf, like an entrepreneur. If you can't think and if you can't manage your feelings, nothing that we say works. Nothing. And if you're thinking from a poverty side of the spectrum, you can even try some stuff, and you're like, man, this shit doesn't work, or it don't make no sense. So that's why this is imperative. Next slide. So most of us are in scarcity or in survival mode in some form or fashion. So strategy number one is you got to turn your manual mode on. You know what that means? Your automatic responses to things, your automatic routines, your automatic things, you got to turn that off. And life has to come back in manual mode for you. And it's tedious and it's long and you think a lot and you have a headache at the end of the day, but you're fucking up. So you have to make sure that you run through your decision making with a fine-tooth comb until you can get yourself back on a higher spectrum. In business, especially. In business. Manual mode on. So, as we all know, time's relative. Can we agree to that? Time is relative. It's not absolute. It can speed up, slow down, and Einstein's proven this. So we've just came up with the clock, in seconds and times, but in actuality, that all can be warped. I can tell you that. The days that I hate running, and I go to the gym, I step on that treadmill, I press the quick start, do my little 2-minute walk warm up, and I start running. Look down, 4 minutes. Fuck. All right, got 6 minutes to go. So let me distract myself. Let me look at the TV. Let me look at the gym. Let me look at some cute girls over there. Okay, oh, let me look at my partners. Oh, what's up, y'all? Yep. All right. Dope. All right. I look down, maybe 4 minutes later. 4 minutes and 15 seconds. What the fuck? It's going to be long. And then there's some days I finish my 2-minute warm up. I look down and look up and I just blink and I look back down and it's at 8 minutes. Time's relative. And what I'm saying is when you turn manual mode on, it's going to be irritating because everything's going to be, it takes long. I don't feel like I want to just skip the steps like I normally do. No, because the decisions that you made are what got you in this mess. It got you here. So first thing you need to do is start strategizing. What are your strategies in this situation? What do I want to get out? What's my intention in this negotiation? What's my intention for today? What are the 3 or 4 things I can do very well today and focus on one at a time today? Because in this scarcity survival mode, you prone to get into car accidents, you prone to forget shit, overlook, missteps, all of that. And now you compound on an already bad or already tumultuous situation. If you stop and slow down and you strategize, what are 4 things I can do today and really concentrate on one at a time? And let me plan this out. Strategy. Next thing, move slow. People gonna be like, okay, I need this done. I need your answer by the end of the day today. None of that. If you can't go slow, the answer is no. If you can't go slow, the answer is no. Why? What is it about this deal that 24 hours is going to change? Is like Cinderella or something? Because I need time to think about it. I need to talk to some people about it. Next is you got to detach yourself from the judgment of other people. Because if you're moving slow and you're strategizing, a lot of people got expectations about where you need to be, what you need to do, what you need to look like. And you may have in priority, maybe you backed up and you have a priority list of things that you're working through. Because you got stuck in scarcity or survival mode. And you're on thing number 1. And somebody's coming up to you, talking to you about thing number 10. You can't just do thing number 10. What's wrong with you? You can't do that. You're like, I know. Relax. But I have to prioritize, so I'm on thing number 1. You'll look better. Entrepreneurs don't do it. Nah, you got to detach yourself. And detach yourself from social media, how you're supposed to look, how relationships supposed to look, how happy you're supposed to be. None of that. You have a plan. Now, your strategy and your plan, if you are doing the other 3 things, you've ran it by some people. You ran it by some people who you respect and honor or have a life or things or a business kind of close to where you want to be. You ran it by some people. What do you think about this? This is my plan. This is my strategy. But you got to release your judgment. You got to detach yourself. Who gives a shit what people think? Who cares? You got a plan and you're going for it. Next, fuck your feelings, as the great Nana says. Fuck your feelings. And a lot of us who come from that spiritual community and like the woo-woo community and like the Um, and it's starting to get more popular now. Crystals and intuition and chakras and my ancestors and my angels and all these people speak to you and told you to do it, right? Right? And the next day, you just went out and ran. You just start running, going after it. That's a bad idea. I'm sorry. It's a bad idea. And I'm one of those. I'm woo-woo on the mountain too. But I would never do no shit like that. You know why? Because if that just so happened to be true, then you can run it through intellectual filters, strategy, run it by people, and it'll be sound. It's sound. Sound is sound. Solid is solid. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of those come from and this is what I also venture to say. 99.9% of that didn't come from no spiritual place. It came from your feelings.
Or your wounds.
Because you know why? In order to be that tapped in and connected, you can't be in no survival mode. You can't be in no scarcity mode. You got to be in a place of receiving, right?
Can I get a amen?
You got to be calm. You can't receive from a turbulent survival mode mind anyway. So that's why I say that. So stop feeling. Disregard it. Sorry. You don't get the luxury to do that. You don't get the luxury to do it anytime, but especially during this. You manual mode. Feelings don't count. I just had this feeling. No, I don't care. What the facts say, what the data say. What's the interest rate? What's the terms? What's the numbers? You looked at the terms and the numbers and it came back and it ended up being a bad decision. Riddle me that. Because we so stuck in scarcity, most people, most businesses, they prey on it all day, every day. If it's not scarcity, it's your fear of missing out. It's something. They try to find some emotional flaw in you to get you to make that purchase or make that decision. Last one. In survival mode, most of the times we will start to heavily rely on our feelings. So that's the thing is in these times you rely more on your feelings because the emotional creature you are revs up. So it's time to be counterintuitive. You have to go against. It's almost like in this mode, you have to feel like you're swimming against the current. And when you're trying to climb to a different spectrum, if it doesn't feel like you're swimming against the current, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Oh, I feel rejected, or this is hard, or I got a headache, or I don't feel like thinking. I wanted to do that. I wanted to do it, but this said no. Or I talked to two of my partners who are seasoned and they're looking at things objectively and they told me no. So I'm not going to do it. It hurts my heart. I miss it. I want it, but I'm not going to do it. Like you got to feel like you're swimming against the current. Next slide. Any questions on that before we go? This is this stuff, these first couple of slides are very simple, but they're so deep. And the mastery of these things will save you and make you so much success. The mastery of those things.
Can I interject real quick?
Sure.
Go back to the previous slides. If you don't mind. Thank you, Josh. Magnificent Josh. Okay, listen. I was sitting down with somebody today discussing business, and where their business is it has rich potentials and very strong business, strong value offer, a lot of great things in their business. And I'm asking them some detailed information so I can kind of probe into where their business is located or where they're at in their evolution. And the person says, "Well, I think and I feel," and I stopped the conversation and said, "It's irrelevant. If you keep leading with that term," I said, "you have to be understood." Now, listen to what I'm about to tell you guys. This is very important. Because this is tied to the same thing. In business, your brain makes a lot of assumptions because there's so much you don't know. And you forget you're making an assumption. You think those assumptions are actual facts. And one of the clues that you're making assumptions is I feel and I think. And I told that person, remove this from the conversation because if you load this conversation with too much I feel and I think, you gave me so much noise that even when I compute a solution, I try to work with you a solution, I'm equating all of your noise with your signal. And now my response to you is trash. So the more you're in survival mode and you leave with all these feelings, when you're sitting in front of an investor about to make an investment in you, he or she knows the process of making money. And you go, I feel I got a great product and I think I do this and I feel like, and I feel this and I feel this. And I think the investor heard blah, 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 bullshit, 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 and bullshit. They're going to ask you some questions. Can you see your numbers? How you position in the market? What's your branding system like? What type of market share are you fighting for? How have you position yourself in your local market? What position of market? If you're not answering those type of questions, they don't give a fuck about your feelings and your emotions. Here's the thing. Now, everybody's sitting here in their comfort of the chair and they're listening to me. Wait when somebody sits in front of your face and says, fuck your feelings to you. And if you're in survival mode, you're going to blow that whole relationship up right on the spot. Because your brain's going to go, you're going to lose your rational thinking. You're going to even lose your next point you were trying to make because now you're in defense mode and you don't understand why you are losing traction in your communication. So in business, if I ever sit down with you to consult with your business, I'm not going to hear, anytime you say, I think and I feel, I literally discount everything you fucking said that comes out your mouth. Because at this point, I know if I start to speak to that, all I'm doing is helping you assume. That's that first person thinking. And now you're full of all these assumptions because you keep speaking, I feel, after a while, it is. It goes from I feel to it is. It's just the way it is. Knowing goddamn well you don't know what it is. And you can obtain that information. So this survival mode is not just about going home and fixing your friendships and your relationships and being a better person. It's how it's going to impact you in analyzing where you are in your business and where you want to go.
Absolutely. Next slide.
We have a question online. So stop feeling is to break out of survival mode, or is this a mode of operation for making decisions?
So just to be clear, you can never stop feeling. So you can never stop feeling. I'm a super emotional dude. I am. I'm like Allen Iverson. You know how he always interviewing and crying and shit? Like, that's how I feel because I'm super emotional. It's tough as nails, but just emotional. I was raised by my mom most of my life. So I come from that side, right? I'm emotional. But in this entrepreneur game, you learn how to manage your emotions and put your emotions to the side to make the best decision. The best decision in any situation, but in the context of entrepreneurship is there's your decision, your emotional decision, what you feel. Let me say it again. In decision making, there's several, but we're going to talk about three. There's the decision you feel, there's the decision you think, and then there's the best decision. Period. Most of us go with all the time the decision we feel because it's so strong in us that it tricks us into thinking it's the best decision. But in actuality, more likely than not, it's not. The decision we think a lot of times too, it just we don't have first principle thinking. We don't come up with any options. So we'll think the thing that comes up in our mind, the first thing that we think is the best decision. I was watching an interview with Sugar Free, one of my favorite rappers. Sorry, I'm just keeping that 100. And he was saying DJ Quick, some of the songs that I liked. He was saying one of my favorite songs of his. He said, DJ Quick made me do that take 40 times in a row. I wanted to fight him. Nope, do it again. Nope, do it again. Can you imagine going through 3 minutes and giving your best work and having somebody tell you, no, do it again 40 times? That's because somebody is sitting there on a higher spectrum than you, knowing that I know you can get up here on the spectrum with me. You just got to do it better. And you thinking, I did it the best I can. I did it. I heard it. It was dope. I heard it. In his mind, it was the best. Number 4 was the best one. Number 1 probably was the best one. But the best one, after he's like around number 40, he said, that's it. That's it. Good, we done. And a lot of times for us, we have to know the difference. Is this, there's a I feel, and then there's the best decision. So that's really the difference. Go ahead, Kaja. Can somebody get Kaja the mic?
A question, Nana, to what you brought up. I've started, and I have a good amount now of data compiled around what I've been doing. And I have some event over event data that definitely indicates that there's growth, right? So that I'm able to start to put together a story around data and not around I think and I feel. But at the same time, it's not like I'm not selling medical equipment, right? I'm selling culinary experiences. So it is a business that to a degree relies on thinking and feeling, right? Because it's an emotional purchase, and people don't have to come out and eat at your events. So I'm struggling to understand as I start to put together a sponsorship packet, because it's becoming clear to me that ticket sales alone as the sole source of revenue is not going to get it. So as I put together a sponsorship packet and I start to prepare myself to socialize it, when I listen to what you said, I'm not sure on how to strike the right balance in presenting it between the data story and the emotional story that will lead people to buy, because it relies on feeling.
Relies on their feelings or your feelings?
Their feelings in response to my feelings.
No, their feelings. Okay. Yeah, there's a degree of your feelings, but your feelings should be evolving. Okay. So I was talking to one of our interns, and I said one of the number one values of becoming a great leader is servitude, right? And one of the things that servitude does is it helps you override you, because you often will get in the way, right? So sometimes when you say fuck your feelings, it's because a lot of you is stopping the process from evolving. If I'm an investor and I'm looking at your industry and I invest in that industry, I'm looking at a certain group of deliverables that guarantee success, right? And when you first start a business, so I'll give you an example. Okay, so let's say you sell t-shirts and you design the most beautiful t-shirts you think anyone's ever designed, as well as those around you's ever designed, right? And you start to really get into the design of t-shirts, how t-shirts feel, everything like that, right? Your t-shirts are just a commodity. There's no value in t-shirts. They're valuable, but they're not that important. You say, what do you mean? It's your brand and your position that matters. Remember that when I put out Bobby 100, And he says a T-shirt is nothing new. It's been around since 1950s. You put something new on a T-shirt, but it's the same thing. Just a fucking T-shirt, right? When you create a product in business, it's just a commodity. How you position it in the market and how you brand it and how you remove the friction around it is the value offer. So if you go to an investor and say, oh, I love it, and the people have such a good time, and everybody's happy, he knows that has no value to long-term sustainability. Why? Competition. Can you ward off competition? Can you ward off trend changes? Can you survive randomness, right? Can you survive volatility, right? And so when you're running a business, what happens is that when you first start, it's okay where you are now. But when you start running the business, you got to start running it, meaning that you have to start positioning it. You got to start designing it. You got to start making sure the branding part of it, so the story that's attached to it is so strong that tomorrow, if you come out with a T-shirt, it should sell out because your brand is so strong, right? You got to start also looking at what are the friction points for your business. You got to send out scouts to understand your competition and say, what are they doing so strong? You got to understand the size of your market, the scalability of your market, what's the glass ceiling of your market, what's the potentials of your market? Is this priming you for another market? If you're not asking those kind of questions, your excitement over that $100,000 will mean that your limitation is really $200,000, but you won't see it until you get there. And it's 10 years in the game. You use 10 years of experience development, relationship development, to run up against a hard wall that you could have solved from day one if you have turned your emotions down. And so looking at all this data points and external data points and looking at information and scouting other competition and looking at cultural trends and all these type of things, turn those feelings down. You're playing a different game. You got to get to the point that the game you're playing is not necessary. The event part has to be solid design, and has to have a brand of its own, a character of its own. I'm not saying you run something generic. It has to have some value, but what you're thinking about is surviving an environment that's always changing and competition is coming. McDonald's is so amazing to me the more I continue to evaluate it. It's a simple burger and fries. But what makes McDonald's so motherfucking amazing is his brand game and his position game and his friction reduction game is on fire. Same thing with Walmart, right? Where some of us get caught up in, oh, my product, and then all of a sudden, this is what Corey's going back to, your product and that event gets tied to your personality. You start putting value on that event, and it's tied to your personal value. And so when I come in and go, yo, your event sucks, it could be better, you feel like, what you're going to hear is, I suck, and you try to tell me how to be better. Who are you? Right? And so, but when you get to the point that your event is just a commodity, somebody goes, you suck. You're like, let me add that data to what I have. If I get enough of that, if I get enough response, enough data in that certain area, it goes from noise to a signal. And at this point, I have to do something about it. But if you're in a space where you're feeling, all this shit is noise. All feedback is really noise unless it aligns with, you know what, Kasha, you're actually really fabulous, and I understand what you're going through. And even if it's not perfect, I can see where you're coming from. You'd be like, oh, that's great feedback. But if I come in like after that person be like, yo, I don't give a fuck where you come from, I don't give a fuck who you are, your shit's trash, and at the end of the day, I don't think you're gonna survive. You're like, oh my God, I see this kind of haters I don't respect. That's the survival mode shit that blocks off all that data. So going from commodity, you understand that you are a brand company and this is your commodity, as opposed to you commodity focus and you keep killing yourself off, and investors will hear that shit. And you walk in there talking about, oh, I got the best, the lighting's the best DJ, and people have the most fun, and people are standing in line. He's like, I don't really know what the fuck that means to me. That's nothing I can invest in there.
And then, Court, just a question of one of the points you covered on the slide. I had a reaction when you said, or when you read the point, if you can't go slow to say no. If you are the low entrepreneur on the totem pole, right? No. If you're the low entrepreneur on the totem pole, so that we always talk about like time, money, and attention. Like, let's say, for example, I pitched something to you and you gave me an offer, right? I would feel the pressure of hurrying up and locking that down, because in the interaction, I'm the low entrepreneur on the totem pole, and I know your time is far more taxed than mine, and I probably have a very short window of opportunity to get or stay in front of you. So that would make me feel like I need to hurry up and make a decision, because if you don't have that much, let's say it's the wrong decision, well, you're probably not going to lose that much. It's like that thing you told me a few months ago about falling off the sidewalk versus falling off the cliff. If you're dealing from the sidewalk, you can afford a fall right now, right? But I have felt quickly maybe better because I'm low on the totem pole right now.
No. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm serious about the no though. And this is why. First off, anybody who's higher on the totem pole, as you put it, from that perspective, they'll respect you more if you do that. If you say, hey, okay, thanks, I'm gonna look this over. I need some time to look at it. Or I'm gonna have my lawyers look at it, or I'm gonna mull this over, whatever term you use, because the emotional intelligence that it takes to do that, especially when you both are aware of where you are on a totem pole, gives you promise that says this person is playing the higher spectrum game. I read like if somebody's on that level and you say that, they respect that. Versus if you were to make the decision right away, they think that that's how you move in life. I can already tell that in life, there's some situations where you made some rash decisions. You got that, you stuck like that in life in some places because you have to take your time, especially with big decisions. And going into business with people is sometimes stronger and more impactful than a marriage. So a business decision can make or break your future. That's how my first company crashed. I signed a bad licensing deal. And I didn't have enough good people around me, because when I took it to them, they're like, you have a licensing deal? Almost like, damn, I didn't think you was going to get that far. Whatever is on that contract, I would sign it if I were you. So you always, hey, I need some time to think about it, have some people look at it, or you look at it, or you read it over. Now you read it over with a clear head, away from the tension between you and that person. And now you're able to ask questions. Now that person, you're thorough. Wherever you are economically, wherever you are on a totem pole, you are displaying qualities from a high spectrum. And that's respectable. Now I know can't nothing get past you. And you set the tone for the relationship. Hey, I noticed on page 7, that wasn't like on page 7. It was, and they say, "Oh, that's a typo." I'm sorry. That lets you know, motherfucker. I read all this. We sent a contract to a player. The player came to us, wanted to do a brand partnership with us. He's managed under this big firm, the biggest firm in the U.S. So we sent the contract. They sent it back to us. It looked bloody, all the red in it, every page. So I waited, and mind you, this player is big. I waited week, 2 weeks. So he's like, "Hey, I'm just following up on the contract I sent you." I said, "Let's set up a meeting." So we set up a meeting a week later. So I get on. I'm dressed in beanie and hoodie, and they all zoomed out. I said, "Look, man, I read through all your changes in the contract that you chopped up. It looked bloody on that contract, and most of the stuff in there is all it's all just wording. And I'm not gonna send this back to my lawyers for them to rewrite it because they wrote it, because they mad at how your lawyers wrote it, and go back and forth. And now I'm gonna be wasting money. So if this is how petty you guys is gonna be, like, I don't want this relationship." He's like, no. It's just standard. We have to do that. Don't even worry about it. Like, this is the major thing that I would like to change. It was one paragraph. I said, "Bro, if you change that, I'm good with that, and we good." Instead of me spending $10,000 on lawyer fees because of the emotions of the lawyers, he's like, "No, that's all we need." Good. Then that sets the tone for the relationship moving forward, because you ain't going to be running me around like that. So that's why. Never do that. Even if it's something simple and they say, okay, I needed your decision by tonight. I just need a day to look it over.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
We'll move fast. Let's move fast. So Kaja, because I want to get to this dead time versus live time. Quick question. So in the past, have you struggled with feedback?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you something real quick. So when you struggle with feedback, guess what you have a tendency to overdo? Project, right? Because you're not getting feedback, so you're reading the world through projections as opposed to receiving because you're struggling with feedback. You said something that was a big ass assumption. You said, if I was in their shoes, I would think. That's the danger. Because it's like, have you ever had a teenager stay in your house before? A teenager stay in your house before? And they assume this is the way it should be because they have no responsibilities, right? And then we know that once they get responsibilities, they're going to see where you were coming from, right? So what you were assuming upwards. If I was them, right? So here's the thing that I do, just quick tip. When I'm meeting a client, I create time all the time. Listen, I'm glad we had a great conversation. I see where you want to go. I'm excited about this. Give me 2 days to get back to you. It feels, I'm excited, but it also tells the client I care about your project to put some time into it. Now, those 2 days don't show with no some shit on a napkin, right? It has to look like you put some thought into it, right? Another thing too is if something requires time and the person's trying to put pressure on you, there's been cases where I call clients back and go, what you just asked is not possible. Why are you forcing this? Why are you forcing this point? Well, because sometimes it could be their supervisor pushing down upon you and you're working with this company, right? You can say, listen, that's not possible. And if you wish for me to serve you, this is the lane I want to. You have to be comfortable saying no in some cases. Because if that's how it starts, that one client will destroy your relationship with all the rest of your clients. So you can never, so we are working class people, slavery, Jim Crowism, racism, right? We're working class people. So we think the harder we work. I just told somebody today, the harder you work is not the most advantage, the strongest advantage position as an entrepreneur. You're having an event. Let's say you're helping out. You know how many mistakes you can't see? You know how the idea of what your event should feel like doesn't feel like that because you can't see it? So you got to create slack to step back and just watch it and go, oh, that wasn't right. Oh, she didn't hand it to him right. You know what? I don't like what she has on. You know what? That plate is not designed properly. Man, that wait time is too long. You won't see none of that stuff. So being busy and responding to things quickly makes you create a fragile business. Done.
Yep. And that's scarcity and survival mode, just so you know. That's where you at. That'll tell you, telltale sign you're in scarcity and survival. All right. Dead time versus alive time. I love this part because this is how you warp time. Now, dead time and alive time. What's the definition of dead time? You're waiting in a line, or you're doing something tedious or mediocre, low level that requires low level thinking. You're stuck somewhere. You're in traffic. It's dead time. It's dead time. You add all those up, those are years off of your life. And years off your life are the difference between you and somebody who may have gotten further, and they maximize their time. Remember we talked about a long time ago the difference between harmony and balance? See, people who are balance focused, they carve out periods of time, right? Carve out periods of time. It's like how I used to work out in the gym. I have in my head, I'm working out chest today. I walk in the gym, all the chest machines are being used. So you know what I used to do? Stand there. Hey, yo, how many sets you got? 4, 5, 6. I'm going to sit here and I'd wait 20 minutes because in my head, I was going to do chest and I was going to start with this machine. So I'm going to do this chest and start with this machine. Now that time that I spent, it just died, right? Now, some people, the way their brain works, they have to do that. What is what it is. But how you manage your time throughout every day is a telltale sign about the quality of life that you get on the back end. And it doesn't mean you got to fill every second with stuff. No, that's not what it's saying. You can work 4 hours a day. You can spend time with your family, wake up at whatever time, work 4 hours a day, but it's what you do in that time that matters. When you're alive, you're going after it. You're productive as hell. You're super productive. Have you ever had them days where, man, you was just killing it that day? Home run after home run, phone call, disorganized, house clean, knocked down some deals, made some money, spent time with your kids, have fun. Like, there are times where you were on. It's a flow state in business. It's a flow state where you flowing. In hoop, it was like that. Sometimes you had that game. Nothing misses. You throw it with your eyes closed, it goes in. And you think you scored 10 points, and you look on the board and you drop 30 on their ass. Like, damn, how'd that happen? Because you were in a flow state. You were in a rhythm. So, dead time and alive time. And most of us are stuck in dead time, and we're just waiting to come alive. Versus the idea is to merge the two together. If you have a job right now, you got a job. And your job, and you have these big entrepreneurial goals, and you got purpose, and you want to go after it entrepreneurially, and you got a plan, but you work in a job. Can you get that good to where that job can occupy 30% of your energy and you still do a hell of a job at work? And then you can take some of that time to push your agenda, to build your brand, to grow your company. When you cleaning at home, can you pop in an audiobook? Like, there's certain things that you can do that can turn dead time into a live time. When I was going through a rough patch, I don't try not to have these dreary stories no more. Fuck that. It was just a little rough patch. It's a little one. And I was working at I was trimming weed at a cannabis thing because that's the only job I can get. So those jobs are fucking boring. You spend 8 hours a day just doing this. And everybody, all these wannabe hood dudes talking about their heyday when they was in the streets and doing all these big things. Like, you shut up, you lying, because you here. We right here. So you know what I have in my head? I will have my AirPods in. I'm listening to all my audiobooks, all my books, relearning. I listen to them again and again to where I'd memorize the audiobook. When I memorize it, I move on to the next one. So I'm elevating my spectrum as I'm doing this stupid ass low level job. So it's not dead. It's not dead. It's not dead time. In that moment, I changed dead time to a live time. So now I'm getting paid to raise my spectrum and learn. So all the books that we talked about, a lot of the books that we early on, when I first started teaching a class here, those were the books I was listening to memory, which helped me get out of that state. So it's dead time and a live time. You're always seeking a live time. How can I make this moment alive? And it doesn't have to be work. If I'm on my phone and my daughter's trying to talk to me, show me something, tell me something, and I'm supposed to be spending time with her, and we're going to talk about this in the next slide. That's dead time. Because I'm giving her nothing. And I'm giving what I'm doing nothing. So in business, that's why strategy is important, because when you strategize your day, you can map out your time. How to make this time a live time, how to make it dead, how to move this away. I don't need to do this. Because we know the most important thing is time, right? Time, attention, and money. So how you map out your time is one of the most important things you can do. That's why we say in manual mode, strategize, go slow. Strategize and go slow. Because if you guys ever watch Larry Bird? You know who Larry Bird is?
Basketball player, Larry Bird?
White boy,
Yes.
basketball player, white boy.
Is this a trick question?
He played in the NBA. Larry
Don't do me
Bird
like
is
that.
one of the greatest NBA players to ever play the game. He played in Michael Jordan's era, Magic Johnson's era, and he's a Hall of Famer. And you know what? That boy was cold. He was cold. One of the greatest players to ever play this game. But you know what else? He was slow as shit. Super slow. But he knew timing. It's not about how fast you are. It's about your timing. It's about your timing. There's a kid now like him, Luca. His name is Luca. Luca's the same kid, slow as hell. And you think you can get him because he's so slow, but it's timing. It's when you're in a live time, you can see everything. You can see everyone's timing. Shakina, you got a question?
I just wanted to ask, so what do you say to the activities that appear to be dead, but they protect like your bandwidth and productivity? So an example would be like, I go and wash my car every week because that it's important for like my bandwidth to, I wash my car every week because I need to have a clean vehicle or things just start to get a mess, like if my space isn't clean. Technically, while I'm getting my car washed, I'm sitting outside reading emails or whatnot, and that's 30 minutes. But that's something that's like protecting the productivity of my week because if things start to get too skewed, then I get skewed. So is there ways that dead time can be positive
Well,
or leveraged?
I think the definition of dead time has to be defined by you, because there are certain activities that may be dead to one person that brings that another person alive. Because what if, growing up, you and your favorite person used to wash your car together on the weekends your whole life. So now, when shit is fluttered, life goes crazy. When you go out and wash your car, it takes you back. And it brings you, it grounds you again and makes you feel good. No one knows that except you. So technically, that's a lifetime for you, washing your car, right? So you know what's dead time in a lifetime. There's certain things I do that seemingly looks dead, but it's not. There's certain things. When I get in those spaces, I go cook. It's another thing that I do that's weird. I go to the Coliseum Flea Market on Saturdays and Sundays because I grew up there. My whole life, my dad used to sell shit on the weekends at the Coliseum Flea Market. So when I feel like lost or not grounded or not connected or just thinking about my dad, I'll just stroll through and I see the little 5-year-old me running up and throwing them pop things on the ground. And it just makes me feel better. And I go buy all the shit, the fucking drinks and whatever. And I walk out of there feeling good. I spend 2 hours there. So that's a lifetime to me. But it might be the dumbest shit ever to somebody else. So you have to, it's about knowing yourself. But it also is knowing what makes you feel alive. What brings you alive. How do you maximize your time? And that comes through strategy. And let's go next slide, and it'll give us some clarification.
Hey, while you're on the next slide, dead time and lifetime doesn't work well if your life is in chaos either. You have to have. If everything's always in chaos, you're at the gym and everything's going crazy, I gotta do my dead time. Well, your dead time is not really your dead time. Your lifetime is not really your lifetime because your life is just in turmoil. It first requires you to enter some type of structure, and then you can sense dead time. So washing dishes might be dead time, mopping the floor might be dead time, right? But if your life is crazy and then you're trying to mop the dishes because which I guess next slide. But I think that's the key thing is dead time or lifetime does require structure. Go ahead.
Yep. So don't confuse this with multitasking. Multitasking is bad. And I use the word bad like not Michael Jackson bad. Like multitasking we don't like multitasking. And we know that multitasking is a popular phrase to try to save time, but when you're intentional about what you're doing, it adds more value. And he just spoke on it. When you're doing something, you don't realize a lot of the things you're missing. You got blind spots everywhere when you're focus on something. If you're multitasking, it gets worse by 50, 60, 70%. So it's much better for you to take a task at a time. When you're in the shower, be in the shower. Enjoy the shower. When you're with your kids playing, enjoy your kids playing. Enjoy your kids. Like, they are watching you. When you're working on a project, enjoy immerse yourself in the project. Now, when you need to take a break, take a break. And be all the way in your break. Don't be working in your break and don't be breaking in your work. Like, that's like that. That is how you maximize your time. That's how your time can come alive. That's where your magic comes in. The small, minute details that you can see because you're focusing all your energy on it. That's why we say, stop doing that bullshit of opening 10 businesses at the same time. That's the dumbest thing ever. It's so much you're missing in one business, just in one. So same in life, intentional. Be intentional in what you're doing, one thing at a time. Now, there's some things that you have to do that's considered dead time. And in the dead time, merge some alive stuff in there. Now you don't waste anything. You don't waste nothing. Your day is full. And you were intentional. When you were there, you were there. So you see the difference between multitasking and merging those two.
For shizzle, my nizzle.
Next slide. Oh, we'll do this next week.
Hey, once you get started on that.
Okay. Oh no, we talked about this. This slide slipped in there. Let's go to the next slide. All right.
Anyone can win, but not everyone can be the best version of themselves. Measure yourself by you being the best version of yourself.
Okay. Now, do not compare yourself to other people. Do not compare yourself to other businesses where you think you should be. When you look at yourself in the mirror that morning, the question you ask yourself is, am I better than I was yesterday? That's it. That's your only measure. Am I better than I was yesterday? Fuck the whole competition shit. There's a measure of competition that's out there, but you do not concentrate on that. You focus on, are you getting better? Because being overly competitive can drive you into a depression because you think you're not good enough. You think you should be somewhere that you're not. When you and whoever else have different resources, so you can't even compare to them. You can't compare. That's crazy to compare yourself to somebody else. You will get where you want to be when that's what you do every day. Am I a better version of myself? Am I 2.5 and yesterday I was 2.4? If the answer is yes, I won. Hell yeah, I won. There's no ifs, ands, or buts to this. Because if you don't know, if you won but you don't have any progress, you can't measure your growth, but you get a win. If something happens to you, you can't win again. You don't know how you did it. You won the lottery lightweight. You got lucky. Next slide.
Also, too, companies compare themselves to companies that are like similar to them. So like Victoria's Secret compared themselves to Zara, Inditex, their big thing, and Apple because of their size. When you're really small and you compare yourself to these big businesses, they're not really your competitor. That's not really your competitor.
No, that's a good point.
So here's some truth. We are not as good as we think.
If you were as good as you thought you were, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. We ain't as good as we think we are. That's the absolute truth. We're not as good as we think we are. And once we're comfortable with that, that makes the slide behind us even more powerful. Once we're comfortable with this, it makes the slide behind us even more powerful, because now the goal is to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And however incremental that is, I'll take it as long as it's upward. But you ain't as good as you thought you was. You ain't as good as you thought you was. And on that note, we out.
Oh, that's good.
Wow. Okay. I need to stop that one. All right, y'all. Y'all good? Everybody good? Did you enjoy the birthday man? You know what I'm saying? He don't get this to like for a couple more days. You know what I'm saying? He don't get to be a birthday man for a day and then gonna escape that shit. His birthday, by the way, was on the 1st. Some of y'all mark your calendars so next year you don't miss it. That way you want to hear from me. That was his birthday. That's a bad man there. Bad man. And I do mean Michael Jackson bad. Let's jump right into it because I got some shit to say. You understand me, man? I had to take my own separate notes. So, my sister came and got me, was it 2 weekends ago?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Nana, let's go view this black business. And I realized we got to go over some basics because the state that we're in, the conditions that we're under, and the shit we've been through, it's got us where we have a lot of distortions. And there are good people with strange distortions. I'm going to comment about this business, but if you feel the urgency to like kind of point fingers as I'm having this conversation, I remember this old minister say, when you point fingers, look at the other fingers. Mm-hmm. They pointing back at you. And I know in our community, we have a tendency to judge people to really make us avoid seeing ourselves. But this is not a time for you to look at the other business as I described this business and then use this business as an opportunity to say bad business. But you need to ask yourself, do I do that? Do I see that? Do I feel that? So I'm going to start off for a few classes with the basics. I'm going to go about 10 minutes and I'm going to stop it and we'll pick up next time. 10 minutes and stop it, 10 minutes and stop it. Because there's a lot of basics. And when I first started teaching Hope, I used to talk a lot of basics. And being that we realized some of the stuff, I removed the basic discussion because I realized it was psychological. And people had good intent. They just couldn't access this so-called basics. But today I'm going to bring some clarity on what the fuck is the basics, right? And today we're going to talk about anchoring and priming. So historically, anchoring is like when you go to a car dealership and the car says MSRP suggests 55,000. Now, you don't know how much that car costs to make and bring it to the market. It could have been 20,000. It could have been 100. You don't know. But the person who's in the position of sales often will anchor you at a number that they feel comfortable falling within a reasonable distance of. They try to avoid you from anchoring numbers. So if you walk in there and be like, yo, I got 30,000, I think this car's worth $30,000. And say, in my mind, I think the car's worth 55. You know how hard it is to get you from 30 to 55? But if I can anchor you at 55 and I give it to you at 52, 51, 50, it might really be worth 45. But in your brain, you walk away saying, oh my God, I had a good deal. But ultimately, you didn't get a good deal because you didn't realize I just created a subjective anchor. Anchors are subjective. Remember, black people, most human beings, we pay more attention to the vivid and less attention to the abstract. Anchoring and priming is purely abstract. But let me go into cultural anchoring. Pause it, I'll come back to it. So she goes out to San Jose. She says, Nani, jump in the car. Let's go to San Jose. I take this black-owned company. And they serve food and refreshments. And we pull up, and she parks the car half a block away, a block and a half away, right? A block and maybe a building away, 20 feet. A block and 20 feet away. And she cracked open the door, and I smell enough urine to make dogs run away. So I'm like, holy Jesus. Oh, God, that's a lot of urine. I said, first, let me tell you what I did first. I went, okay, I smell really good. This neighborhood really stinks. As we walked down the street, I continued to smell urine. I'm like, do they be having urination contests around here? Because all I smell is urine. And it kept getting stronger and stronger. We're going to a food place. Keep it in mind. There's one food place, two food places, and then their place. Then we get close to them. I'm smelling urine. I look at their sign. They have an asymmetric sign. And I mean, an A-shaped sign. I said, A-shaped sign. And I look at the graphics, and they took a cup and cut it out, but they didn't finish the cutout right. They threw it on this green background, and they wrote the name of their company. So I look at the sign and go, yeah, that's pretty rough on me to look at. Okay, fuck it, Maybe nephew doing his graphic designs. I'm gonna give him a chance, because sometimes be like, what, nephew, you gonna be somebody. Come do my graphics, right? So we turn the corner and I look at the entry level window. It's dirty, people. It's smeared like as if somebody cleaned it maybe 3 months ago, and we still run it. And the window is about maybe 10 to 15 feet tall, maybe 8 feet wide, dirty with their logo on the window. So then I looked where the people are preparing the drinks, and the plexiglass that surround the drinks are dirty, people. The plastic looked like it's been through all the wrong cleaners and then just smeared, and let's just keep running. I walk over in front to order. At first I look at the brand of the coffees. They were cool. Options was kind of thin. All they had was fruit note coffees. Anybody know me? Don't give me no fruit note coffees. That's like chocolate and berries mixed. I don't do that. Now I'm gonna tell you what I do like, because something gonna pause me, but I don't like chocolate and berries. So I look over to the left, and they have an area where the pastries sit, and it's dingy looking pastries with poor lighting and poor layout practices and poor signage. So I said, well, fuck it. The best thing I can do is try to get a chocolate chip cookie. Let me get a chocolate chip cookie. And then I called the guy over and said, excuse me, do you have any coffee, like maybe your Americana, that doesn't have a fruit node? He said, what is a fruit node? I said, you know what, that's okay, partner. I don't want no goddamn coffee. So my sister orders her coffee in her kindness of her heart. Bless her heart. She's a Christian woman or something like that. And we both sat down, and I'm looking at the chairs I'm looking at the walls. I'm looking at the floors. And you know what they all said to me? I don't give a fuck. I'm in business, but as long as you pay me my money, I don't give a fuck. And I looked at her and said, I would never stop in this place if I wasn't with you. It's trash. It's absolute trash. Now, I said, well, you know, I got to go. Let's leave. Let me go to the bathroom. I round the corner to the bathroom, and it looked like somebody had a food dirt kicking contest and left it all on the walls. I opened the bathroom door. The sink is dirty, and the plunger still has tissue on it. You understand me? So get your kids away from this because it might get disgusting. And y'all might say, what the hell? Like I said, you're tempted to point fingers. But it's trendy amongst our oppressed culture. Our standards are so fucking low. And this is where it starts with anchoring. Anchoring is this idea of this is where something starts and this is the basics. You see, when we get to that social justice, oh my God, black people been through this. You know, I came from the hood. I came from the ghetto. I seen all these different type of things. The first thing you don't realize is that you're self-anchoring yourself. You say, this is how I grew up. These stories you tell yourself. This is where I come from. This is what I'm used to. This is my favorite food. This is what I like. That's cool when you're an individual. But when you're a business, you got to adjust your anchor. You guys ever played something professional, did something professional, and when you first joined, you probably went to Walmart or Target and bought a baseball glove or some cheap shit or some shoes or, you know, the sporting tools, and you thought, I'm about to go fishing pole. You went to the cheapest fishing pole, and you went out there, and cats had fishing poles that cost thousands of dollars. And you thought to yourself, oh, they just tripping. And you threw your little rinky-dink fish pole, yeah. And only thing you caught was the worm that fell off of their goddamn hook. And you watched them pulling fish just about as long as your fucking torso. And you're like, what the hell? One dude is so serious about it, they have a app that says, if you want to fish at this time, be here. And he just drops his line and he goes home within a couple of hours. You're like, what the hell? And then you realize at that moment, you were anchored too low to be in this big boy game. Entrepreneurship, people, is fucking hard. Cut it out. That's why I don't like none of this motivational soft talk shit. This shit's hard. And you guys are anchoring yourself thinking that, like, we talk to each other in this very soft way that makes us think that we can come into this game in a soft space. You know, I just gotta be in my Napa space and I gotta feel comfortable. I gotta feel accepted. It has to be easy on me. And so we start our business. And here's the funny part: because this trend got us fucked up, and you gotta pay attention to the meta, the micro. This trend got us because white people come in and go, "Oh my God, it's amazing. You're doing great." And you go, "At least I'm doing better than everybody in my family. I didn't expect to be doing this good. Most of my friends don't do as good as I am. I even made $1 million last year." You see all these anchors of acceptance of you think because this is a standard you started at? To another company, you are failing. I talked to my sister a long time ago about products and makeup. And she said she worked for, I think it was Victoria's Secret. And they had a product that had a profit margin of 50%. Meaning, if I sold this item, I think around 50%. Something like that. My numbers might be off, but she could fix it up later on. Mm-hmm. But like say 50%. And they said, we don't want that shit. And I said, wait, they don't want 50% margins? She said, no, because everything else is around 75%. For you, you'll be happy with 20%. You'll be happy with 20% because your expectations are wrong. You have to learn to anchor yourself into new anchors. I don't give a fuck about your story, where you come from. It is your story. It is what it is. I'm not saying I don't give a fuck about you because some of y'all, you know, y'all survival mode. Just think I just told you I don't give a fuck about you. So you just turned your computer off. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you go into business, you're upping your game. You're playing a different game. You have to change the basis of where you start. All those little sad stories and reward stories. Oh my God, you're doing so much better than the rest of black people. I'm so proud of you, Nisi. Look at you. Do your thing. Irrelevant. Go ahead.
Just do me a favor, turn your mic just a little bit.
I'll turn my mic towards.
It's pointed straight at the speaker. So
Oh, okay. Got you. Go ahead.
So, how do you upgrade your expectations? Because, like, when you start off, you got to be low.
Great. So, in sports, we often hear about scouts who scouted the best player, this future Hall of Famer. Do you know that scouts in sports that also scouts the competition? They scout the competition. You know what it is? So they know what they have to do with their team to compete. Too many of you guys are banking everything upon what you feel. That's a low anchor. You need to base your anchor amongst competition. And this is one of the ways you can hack that. Let's say you want to open up a certain business. Go work for that kind of business before you open it up. Get some insights. Shift your anchoring. I want to sell makeup, work for a makeup company. I want to sell car parts, go work for a car part company. And here's the thing, volunteer. Don't give them a fuck if they don't give you nothing. You're there to get re-anchored, learn new standards, and play the game on a different level. The car parts, we went to a place right after that with I'm talking about their level, their patience is like C+. But when you walked in there, you thought, I'm about to buy the best shit ever. They anchored you so high that the place, if you look on Yelp, they got crazy responses, but it's really C-level product. It's not A+. I know A+. I know some motherfucking A+. Right? But the thing is that they understand that high anchor yourself like, this is who I'm competing against. Stop telling yourself I'm only competing against, my cousin Tyrone across town or other black people that's popular in your community. You're competing against the general market that you decided. So going to work for some people. But if you're not scouting, then you will never understand where your anchor needs to sit. Another thing you got to keep in mind is that competition. Competition is always changing the anchor space. So even when you first start, don't be surprised if your anchor has to rise up because competition just changed the game. Everybody could have been, do you guys remember how coffee was before Starbucks? Cafes were? They weren't that the same. Yeah, it was Folgers. Right, we had Folgers. And then here came, all of a sudden, Starbucks came along, and even though Starbucks is at the bottom of the barrel, they changed that anchor drastically, right? That happens all the time. Now imagine if you grew up in a household of Folgers your whole life, and you come in there going, I'm going to open my first space, and we're going to serve Folgers. You're trash. So a lot of these racial stories we tell that are so, we were abused and we barely made it and we've been oppressed and everybody always worked against us and no one ever liked the black man. Allows you to set low anchors. Go ahead, give Kaja. So raising your anchor is part one. Go ahead.
I love that this point came up. A couple of weeks ago, I had occasion to be in a black business here. And I didn't want to judge, right? I wasn't sure if I was looking at a business who did not realize that, now that we're talking about this, I have the language for it. If they didn't realize their anchor was as low as it was, because they're a popular black business, but I was shocked at what I found when I walked in there, from the proprietor's behavior to the staff's behavior to just the general makeup of what was going on. Or if the owner strategically picked a low anchor because the place was packed and people were spending money. So I'm like, is this a strategy you play into the low anchor, which could be smart, or do you just not realize your anchor is in the gutter?
Neither one of those matter. The future is unpredictable and competition's coming. So if you anchor low and you're doing really, really well, all you're doing is priming the market for the next person to come get it. That's all you're doing. So you're telling the white folks who have real power and bread, yo, there's some movement over there. We missed that one. All right, tell you what, since Court's been over there and he didn't handle his branding game strong and he'd been anchoring low, running it really, really weak, I'm about to come in and smash from that dude. And he was smashing him because why? He didn't know competition is a fucking thing. Or some young dude who meets a person who got some resources and he's looking at that angle and he's watching you underserve that angle because you're being anchored too low. He come and anchor higher and still give them what the pluses you provide with satisfying higher needs. It's very similar to think about how Apple Computer anchored differently, and all of a sudden their standards of how they showed up smoked PCs. Where now when you say PC, there's a feeling, a group of emotions, how it's packaged, how it rides, how they talk about it, which I'm gonna get into the priming in a second. How you think about the market, the PC industry kept saying, because it was ran by engineers, yeah, it's just good enough. They should. This is what they should do. This is how it works. Where Steve Jobs came in and was like, I don't give a shit what y'all feel. This is where we got to go. So all you doing in low anchoring is setting the market up for somebody else. You're never that special. If you want to be special, special's a practice. And once your practice deteriorates, the next man come in and be like, oh, you tripping, I got you. So you can, it's almost a false sense of your ego got you fucked up thinking that, oh, because I'm here, I deserve to be here, and because people have chosen me, I'm going to always be here. That's a false relationship to reality. Reality says that once I tell everybody there's food over here, the other animals will start looking at it. And that's just simple. So anchoring is a very invisible space for us. So we have to scout. Either scout or go work for the business you want to be a part of for free even. 6 months, 3 months, 1 year. I'm at this restaurant, Phoenix. Man, they ran that restaurant. Nice as fuck. And I'm like, yo, how'd y'all? This is the first time I went to a restaurant. The food was amazing. Service was amazing. Like, they had me wow, right? I'm like, damn, this restaurant's hella tight. So the owner came out. It was two owners, husband and wife. Wife comes out, looked like a tall Vogue model. And she comes out. I'm like, let me ask you a question. How'd you master this restaurant? How'd you make it so nice? Her response, well, me and my husband went to San Francisco, found one of the top restaurants off of Barcadero's, one of the top Michelin restaurants in San Francisco. And we worked there for free for 6 months. We were washing dishes and cleaning and sweeping. But we would go home every night and write our notes up. By the time we got time to run our own business, we had a plan. This is our first hit. Your first attempt? Remember how we said when you first started a business is trash? They hacked the process by internship, by working at other places. So take your passionate ideas and go jump in that industry. I don't give a shit if you just sweeping floors every day. Are you on the ground picking up little balls to the floor like, okay, all right. And just listening. You're just taking notes. You're observing, getting the game, and then you'll learn how to raise your standards. So going back to that fishing story, if you went out with other fishers and you got your little rinky-dink pole that's from Target for $40, and them dudes got $1,000 poles, and you start, and they let you even hold it one time, and you reel some fish, you're like, what the hell? This is a whole different thing. Then you realize, oh, I see the difference between what I thought and what is. You see the difference? So we're going to have to do that because we live in a culture that has low expectations, and we're meeting those expectations head on. 1, priming. Your commodity ain't shit. Write that down on a piece of paper. Your commodity ain't shit. Let me say this again. In the bigger scheme of things, your commodity ain't shit. Your designs, your photos, your food, your gym, it ain't shit. Damn, Nana, you just a weird, mean cat. No, I'm not mean. I don't give a shit about you like that. Because, you can say, if somebody call you mean, that means I don't like you. Why would I not like you? I'm give you fucking facts. Yeah, like I don't even know you exist. You at home like, oh, he talking to me. I don't fuck I'm talking to you. Fix yourself. Let me make it simple. When a customer hears about your business, you got to think about your journey of priming. So what is priming? Priming is something that happens that changes the context of your interaction something that happens before you interact with something that changes the relationship you have to that something. So, for example, let's say I'm walking through this tunnel and I'm smelling lemony stuff, and I'm seeing lemons everywhere. And then there's a lemonade stand. I think I want a lemonade. It primed me. Let's say my friend called me up and says, "Hey man, I know you're going to Disneyland. Dude, their lemonades, oh my God, I'm being primed." Let's say on the way to the stand, they say, "Hey, at Disneyland, we have the finest water." I'm primed. Same lemonade. Let's say as I get in, they say, "We only believe in organic products. And these products are grown from people who put time, attention, and money into providing you the best lemons known to man. We consider our lemons award-winning." That lemonade tastes so good. My taste buds will change the way the lemons taste. And my pocketbooks just got loosened. So when that person says, "Hey, this lemonade is $15 for a cup," I'd be like, yeah, I want some of that. The price of $15 is part of the priming. Stay with me. The cup you handed to me, the way the lady speaks to me, what the person looks like behind the counter, what the counter looks like. Where's the lemonade sitting? Everything is priming. Everything is priming. What is your priming game like? Shakina, about 7 years ago, when she opened up her first gym, said, "Nana, can you come by and evaluate my gym?" I walked in and I was like, she said, "Come on, tell me." Fuck, man, I ain't really come up here for this shit, but okay. She's going to have to hear the famous "I don't give a fuck" speech. So, first thing I told her, "Yo, those windows, don't you ever let your windows get dirty like that again. This entryway, if I walk into your gym, you need to prime the way I feel from the day when I walk in that space." I even went into your social media ads. Are you trying to get members or are you trying to pump yourself up? Ask her. I went through this I was like ruthless. Now, to her praise, every time she got some profit, she invested. I didn't say she brought some new shit. She invested in improvements. Her investment in improvements has provided her a very financially stable environment to run her business in with loyal customers. Some of y'all have been happy about that first shit she had. It was, and to this day, when I walk in there, when she got a new space, now they come in and give me a feedback. The last one, I was like, okay, I'm impressed. Don't get me wrong, I'm impressed, but I realized, okay, let me let that shit calm down so I can find something. I'm not even lying. I'm not lying. With my own business, I called Tennille the other day. I was like, "Tennille, who didn't clean the bathrooms correctly? My bathrooms, I need that shit repainted. I need this done. I'm not playing that shit with y'all." Marquita used to tell you before, Tennille, she said her greatest, Marquita didn't understand priming, so she thought I was just a detail asshole. But she don't realize I am priming at all times. All times. So when I walk down the street and smell like piss, as a business, you know what you do? At 5 o'clock in the morning, we're going to keep working on this piss smell if it's the last thing we do. Because at the end of the day, unless I'm either going to move or I'm going to invest in this space. But what I can't do is leave the piss out there because I ain't my piss. Right? Because by the time I get to the free space, my stomach is turning. I don't even want coffee no more. Right? Then when your entryway needs to be the priming moment of all priming moments. That window, that entryway, the door, the walkway to the coffee, everything needs to say, you are at the right place. If I sit down in your space, it needs to say, yeah, I really don't want to go home. Your Wi-Fi is priming. And then at a restaurant, people, your business, people, I don't give a shit if your business is motherfucking come in and polish tires and do push-ups. Clean your fucking bathrooms. It is not acceptable. You know how cheap janitorial service is? It's like what, $160, $175 a month, $200 a month, $300 a month. It's hella cheap. Them cats are not charging you that much at all. Shit, leave them a tip if you feel guilty. Give her that shit. But Keep your shit clean. When you get extra money, think about how can you prime your customers to change your prices. A lot of you run with low prices because your priming game sucks. When you prime people well enough, look, man, I don't know if y'all ever bought some shit from Gucci before. That moths eat that shit too. They don't make a special cotton from Gucci. Moths be like, hey, baby, if you're in my way and you ain't got rid of me, I'm eating that shit. That shit will, if you got musty, sweaty underarms, that shit will yellow too. If you think for 5 seconds you put that shirt on and you're a different person, you're a goddamn lie. But their priming game is superb. Superb. Go to Fight Team Media right now. Go look at the desk. Look at the open. I am an asshole about everything because if I walk into my office with a customer, I need the priming experience to slap them across their face. Marketing. Y'all think marketing is just promotional material. Y'all forget everything you. If you sell shit to people online, how fast do you get to them? How strong is your communication? How much uncertainty do you remove? How are you priming everything known to man? How are you running ads that prime you to want to buy more? There's products in this there's teams that listen to Fight Team Media, and I hate their priming game. And I think you're fragile. Okay, how many of you guys are past 35? Okay, I know Shakira looked at me like, I wish you would look at me. Okay. All right, so we got 3 people in here, three puppies in here. Okay. Have you? Okay, so so that's my Hollywood dismiss. Have you guys watched a new generation come along and you'll say Stevie Wonder, they're like, who's that? Right?
That?
Okay. You don't realize that your business it could be victimized by that same thing. That online, if you're not keeping your story alive and priming people on how to walk into your business and buy your products and what the expectations are set, you're creating friction points for that customer who leaves their house to come to your business. Gucci is telling you, if you come in this motherfucker, you about to spend some money if you look at these marketing ads. They won't even put Gucci. If you told Gucci, "Hey man, I got this new magazine. It's making hella cash. It's a janitorial magazine, but it's about real estate. And right now we're doing about $30,000 a month on this magazine in the Bay Area. Gucci, you interested? Fuck no." They understand that priming means no to some things and yes to other things. Where do you position yourself in the market to prime people to say that if you look at my products, you should associate it with this thing over here? So if Lamborghini had a big event and it was sponsored by Gucci, I get that. If Toyota has a big event, Gucci is not even going to get out of his fucking bed. I don't give a shit how many cars you sell. Even if you sell more cars. It is not because they're saying Toyota and Gucci and Lamborghini is different. They're saying Lamborghini brand is a perfect brand to associate myself with, which allows you to spend this much money on a fucking t-shirt that costs you $800 for a fucking t-shirt with 2 G's. You guys get where I'm going with this priming thing? So black people, this is a basic. When you open your fucking businesses, think about everything you're doing is priming the customer experience. Everything. Don't put that sister, I'm gonna go to my next slide. I'm gonna come back to priming in a second. Go to my next slide. First of all, that picture's cold. Because the white man's walking a dog.
That's my uncle.
That's your uncle?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Well, you better stop impersonating different white people. But, by the way, dog versus white man walking a dog, one of these days you'll catch that. That's some cold shit. Subsidizing weakness. I know some brothers and sisters right now who are suffering, and they're good people, but they're suffering. You know why? Because everybody around them subsidized them. I hate low-level racism. I'm not sure what high-level racism. I'm not sure what I hate racism in the most damaging way. I hate people who are anti-gay because they think they're disgusting. I hate that shit. I hate it. I literally hate it. I hate devaluing women. I don't understand how we even do that shit. We come from the same line. I mean, my mother wasn't a man. Sorry. I hate fat shaming. But in all those things I hate, it doesn't justify the extremes. So what do you mean? We went to the county fair. And I have a whole bunch of thick people in my life. You understand me? Including my wife. She's a thicker one. And being thick is okay, but exercise is not okay. It's two different things. It's two different things. Taking care of yourself and being thick is two different things. What I don't like is this culture that subsidizes the weakness of human behavior. So I went to the fair, county fair, with my family the other day. Hot. You know it's how we put a W in there. Hot, right? It was hot as hell. I started like, I know my slave ancestors went through. It's so damn hot. So it's hot. And I'm over there singing Negro spirituals, over there singing Sipping Lemonade. Nobody knows. It was hot. And I'm watching the people. I'm going to call it, because y'all too scared to say it, so I got big enough muscles I can handle a blowback. It was deterioration of human beings. It was a deterioration of human beings. And these wasn't older human beings. This was like maybe 30 and younger. And everybody like they were 60 and older. And what I mean by 60 and older, self-neglect. We talk about all body shapes. Skinny, am I lying? Skinny, tall, small and fat. No musculars. No muscles. Only thing you saw muscle on was on a cartoon character. And this is not meant to focus on them. It's we learn to subsidize weakness. I'm gonna give y'all a simple one. Did y'all see months? Middle class folks. Yeah, this weekend, I need some time to myself. I went through a lot this week, and I'm gonna go to Napa so I can get some time and energy and get myself reconditioned. And I just need this. But you do that shit almost every week, bro. Every fucking week. And guess what your friend says? Yeah, girl, I understand what you're going through. Yeah, bro, if you gotta get away, you gotta do what you gotta do. Or somebody will show up with a. So my daughter comes to me and is like, Dad, I just drew this. What do you think? I say, hey, it's getting better. Keep practicing. I'm proud of you. I don't subsidize with my own fucking daughter. I don't be like, oh, this is fucking Rembrandt. Oh my God, this is the most amazing. I say, yo, you are progressing. Aren't you proud of yourself? We can still be kind to each other without subsidizing their weaknesses. But by us subsidizing weaknesses, some people are calling for help and no one's coming because you motherfuckers are you subsidizing too much. In business, stop telling whack-ass businesses they're doing a good job. Hey, brother, I'm glad you come this far. We got a long way to go. There's some shit here. Them windows dirty as motherfucker. And that piss got me about to fast the fuck out. But keep going, brother. This is what you can do. Here's some options. You might say, no, that sounds so harsh. Probably because you're on the dog side. Because on the wolf side, that's easy. The shit I got to deal with every day, I wish a motherfucker would get, that's the easy shit. When IRS call you, that is some shit. When you have a dead month and you trying to make a big investment, oh, that is some shit. When a mistake comes down the line and all of a sudden you realize it's going to cost you $20, $30, $40, $50,000, man, do your nose bleed? Yes, your nose, God damn it, it's bleeding again. But y'all have produced this level of weakness that this is where I'm going with all this. we become so soft and so caressing, and we blame empathy. It's not empathy. It's some other shit you done made up. It's really sympathy. We turn empathy into sympathy. We become very, very soft expectations. Even women and men, we are even soft in our relationships. We take this person who ain't got enough strength to lift their motherfucking toilet tissue to put on a fucking roll, and we call them strong. So then when it comes time to walk through those doors and do business, we're too soft for this game. We over there, so watch this. I'll never take this person's name. I'm gonna change gender. His sister called me. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna change the gender. That way y'all won't be like, oh, I think I know who it is. And it ain't Court. So don't try that because Court hella tough. Josh, I'm talking about you, okay? Okay, fuck it. Josh said, fuck with me again. Watch me blame it on you. So the cat tells me, no, I go to the doctor. The doctor said I had high blood pressure. No, this is the real story. I said, oh damn, man, okay. First, that's empathy. Damn, brother, sorry to hear that. Now you gotta be careful what comes out your mouth at this point, because I'm not that type of dude. So he goes, so I went to the doctor and asked him, did you run this test on me? The doctor said, why would I run that test? He goes, okay, I see. Did you check my magnesium and something else? And the doctor says, no, why would I take that? He goes, see, this is why, Nana, he's talking to me now, you can't trust these white doctors. Because, see, at the end of the day, we need to run these tests on black people because we're different. I said, hold on, bro. Hold the fuck up. See, no, this is where the subsidizing weakness doesn't happen. He goes, I said, hold the fuck up, brother. Let me ask you a couple of quick questions, if you don't mind. I said, but before I ask you questions, you know I'm not a soft dude, right? I just want to make sure you didn't confuse me with some of your soft partners. He goes, nah. I say, you know I'm not metrosexual, where I'm just like, kind of like I'm all over the place. I don't really like stand nowhere. You know, I'm like fluent, right? He's like, okay, okay, cool. I said, and you know I'm into some man shit, right? He said, yeah. I said, okay, cool. Let's establish it, because where I'm about to go is I'm about to unleash my manhood on you. Who said pause? You know what? I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. Hey. That's why I don't talk to these black folks over here. I'm about to cut them off. Hey, I'm about to have a class. Look here, I'm going to class of these small people who don't know what the fuck I said. Anyway,
Wait a minute.
I can't stand some people. So I asked him, I said, let me ask you something. So I said, let me ask you a question. How far did you run last week? They said I have an injury. I can't run. I said, okay. How far did you swim last week? He said, I didn't. I said, well, how far did you cycle last week? He said, well, I used to take cycle class, but I stopped about a year ago. I said, okay. If you don't get your fat ass in the gym, go work out and take care of your fucking family, you're going to blame the doctors because you didn't take care of your fucking self. You want to make everybody the problem, and you don't see that the problem is you. Get your ass up and take care of your fucking family, because your kids need to see you when they become fucking adults. Who in the fuck you think you are? I was like, dude, I'm a man. I don't do this soft talking ass shit with you. Don't call me with no shit like this again. You see where I'm not subsidizing weakness? I go, oh, you hanging around them motherfuckers with dice shikis and strawberry sticks in their mouth, and we talking about all this hotep shit, huh? And where they make you feel soft about your shit. You want to blame other people for your lack of performance. Now y'all say, damn. You might say, damn, Nana, why so hard? And you know what he says? Yo, I needed that kick in the ass, bro. I needed that kick in my ass. Because I was on some old distortion shit. He goes, I probably need to hang around people like you, because all the people around me was subsidizing that shit. This man was about to die with his kids and wife left behind, because everybody was subsidizing him by going, oh, it ain't your fault. It's everybody else's fault. Oh my God, that's messed up. You're now a victim. Oh my God. And this man is about to fucking die. And all he needs to do is, you're way overweight. You don't exercise, not at all. And nobody said, look, my grandfather, I never forget. This is right around COVID, and I gained that weight. My grandfather, I'm walking down the street. I was on Bancroft. He just rolled up on me and said, God damn, boy, you getting big, ain't you? You gonna work that goddamn stomach? Well, you gonna bring that shit down, right? All right, I love you. See you later. Do you know, I was like, oh, hell no, I gotta get my stuff. You know why I needed to hit that kick in the ass? Because sometimes you get caught in your own funk. Have you guys ever picked a weight and then saw the picture and was like, that ain't me? You like, he must have shot a wrong angle. And then you realize everybody must be shooting the same wrong angle after you look at different pictures. And you realize, oh, damn, it really is me? Your brain is playing tricks on you. So while your brain is playing these tricks on you and your reality is getting weirder and softer and everybody around you is just subsidizing it. These are the basics. Don't subsidize it for yourself. Be honest with yourself. Yeah, I fucked up. Nah, that wasn't strong. I didn't make no money. I made more money than him, but that still ain't no money. I heard people like when she told me, say, oh, this company, they made $1.7 million between 2 stores. I was like, that ain't no money. Right? If he came to me like, I made $1.7 million between 2 stores, I'm like, you ain't made no fucking money. Sit your ass down. That ain't nothing to be proud of. Let's look at how you can get to like at least $1.7 million per store. But $1.7 million for 2 stores, you got problems. Go ahead.
Like, in context to what though? Like if you're
a cafe and the product you selling coffee and you making $1.7 million a year between 2 stores, that's not impressive at all.
Is that based upon like market shares and projections for what a store should average in that
coffee
market
stores?
based on
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Coffee stores, hell yeah. Coffee stores, you're down there printing money.
Okay.
It is the most legal form of drugs you can sell. That's like a crackhead. That's like a dope dealer going, yo, man, I'm out here on the streets, man. Last year I made $110,000. You're like, damn, you must have been rough for you, huh? Like, was you the third choice? Goddamn. Like, you go like it's just like contextually it sucks, right? But even 1.7 million in today's society, some of us still got 1980 anchoring in 2023 market. You remember when you made $1 million in the 80s and that was like, damn, she a millionaire? In 2023, you doing cool. You're doing good.
Do you remember when you were talking about businesses in Oakland and how Black businesses in Oakland weren't really that strong? They were just subsidized?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so in 1970s, what she's talking about is 1970s. The way Black businesses became subsidized was the government gave a lot of money to Black businesses, right? So they were being subsidized and they thought they were stronger than they were. Similar to the money that people are getting from these. By the way, what's the other side of the companies that give money to nonprofits? What's the other side of that called? Huh? Venture capitalists. So remember I said nonprofits are weaker than for-profits?
Yes.
A lot of the nonprofits that give money, you should meet the staff and go meet your venture capitalist side.
Man.
Them cats.
Man.
Hey, you talking about Pee-wee and Buffy. It ain't even a comparison. You go to the nonprofit side to give away money, it's like the weakest business people. Okay, in relative comparison, one side seems like a joke. One is playing business, and one realize they survive by business, right? So Oakland have received a lot of money. This happens a lot of times all over in American culture where we get subsidized. And then when we get subsidized, a lot of weak businesses got money. And so when you went to them, like they was doing really, really good, right? That's happening today. And the owners start thinking they were doing really, really good. I've seen companies, I'm not lying, they'll raise $100,000, $200,000, but that year they make $60,000. Right? That's common. $60,000, let me help you out. That's $5,000 a month.
They're starting to now be on the other side of all of the money that came through for COVID, not only from their customer base, but also from all of the money that came in because of George Floyd. If you didn't handle your basics during that time, now, early stage, the money is not really there. And 2, the customers who had all of that money, who were spending with you, now the IRS is after them to give it back. And so they're struggling because they don't really know how to drive their business in a regular market. So now all of the people who are coming in for support are people who got even up to like, in some cases, closer to 600,000 are now, that rebalance is starting to happen, and now they're having to batten down on their basics. But it's much harder for them to get money because either that money is dried up or people have moved into spaces where people are a little further along in their business and they've developed more of a customer. So it's just, that's happening like right now. So people are either shutting down so that they can just like totally rethink it, or they're not. This year, 2023, their year-to-date performance is way soft.
So think about this: when you're subsidizing all these weak companies,
Yeah.
you allow them to pick up all these bad habits. That when the market adjusts, meaning that the customer's no longer sympathetically purchasing your product, and you're not getting that sympathy money. So now, can you make a profit, and do you have a real strong value offer? And what you'll find is that at the end of the day, you're not even making money like that. But you thought, because I was getting this money from this end, which gave you the distortion because you were subsidized for your weakness, and you were selling this weak ass product, and you had a few close friends who bought it from this end, you didn't realize that if you had no subsidy from this, you didn't have a real strong value offer. Now you might say, well, what about venture capitalists who get all this cash like this? I understand that's a game they playing, but that's a layered game. You say, what do you mean? That's generational wealth showing up to invest in new businesses. It's not this one young dude came up, made hella money, and then he's investing into, because the return. Okay, black people, let me say this, I haven't said this in class. You're not white people. I know, fuck, I know, messed up. Oh my, but some of y'all, like some of y'all pulling your blue eye contacts out like, God, these are fake? Yeah, no, you're not white people. Why is that important? You're on a different trajectory than white people. You're really a nation within a nation. You have different problems, you're at a different stage. Case in point, when white people was going through baby boomers after the World War II, right? You weren't going through baby boomers. You were going through your first generation of integration and migration, right? But your story is not told in the story of evolution of Americans in the United States. Matter of fact, the new generation is called the integration experiment. That the people are being born as new generation, they're the integration experiment. My generation and generation before me were the two integration generations, right? Your trajectory of how you're moving in society is totally different. This is why when white people want to help you, they're trying to come from the bottom of their heart, but they can't see you because you never identified yourself, and nor do they see you as a separate nation within a nation. Have you went to your schools and went to their schools? Some of their lowest performing schools are beating our highest performing white schools. Some of our lowest performing white schools are topping our highest performing black schools. There's a huge gap on where we are in their evolution. So even when we're starting our business, we got to think about business almost like Henry Ford, not motherfucking Bill Gates. So if you can't generate a profit and you have to rely upon a foreign group to finance you, does it happen sometimes? Yes. Is there by the way, Bob Johnson, a tight ass brother. You gotta get a chance to listen to him speak. I don't agree with everything he said, but that's a real black ass dude. I love that dude. But Bob Johnson had some lucky opportunities that came his way. But also Bob Johnson did what I said earlier. He interned in right environments and met the right people. So when it was time to make things happen, he was able to have one phone call away to make things happen, right? So respect to Bob Johnson. But for a lot of us, we're gonna bootstrap our businesses. In order for you to bootstrap a business successfully, you gotta sell something. You gotta sell something. And if you sell enough, investors will come. But if you're not selling nothing, George Floyd subsidized so many of our people. It set this expectation. This is how business works. And when the subsidy goes away, them poor babies, because I really actually feel sorry for them, and I'm not saying that in a sarcastic way, they got duped. And this shit happens to us over. It happened in the 70s. It keeps happening to us over and over and over. And matter of fact, if you talk to any entrepreneur, they hate subsidies. Because it's almost like it's a way of creating a make-believe world for somebody that you can remove at any time you want to, as opposed to create pathways for people. If you want to help black people out, just improve the pathway. Let us take care of ourselves. Let us trust, because whatever we have to do to go through that pathway to get there, it's going to make us strong enough to stay there. But if you make that pathway too easy, by the time you get there, remember the old story about taking the caterpillar out of the shell too early and the butterfly never flies? That's the fuck what you're going through. Somebody's making the path easy and it's making it where you can't fly, and it's subsidized weakness. Is that some whole shit? Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead, shit.
I have so many questions tonight. Do you think priming by association is a good strategy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Who you associate with, who you align with, and who you don't align with, and who you don't socialize with, all that's important. Go ahead.
All right. I don't know if I structured this question the right way, but okay, so how do you approach changing the mindset of a business owner that didn't get subsidies, financial subsidies, but they grew, but in hindsight, they also know that their anchoring isn't strategic? So like, for example, my business grew during COVID. I didn't get any subsidies, or I didn't even get the checks for the kids and stuff. Like, I didn't get any subsidies at all. And I still grew, but contextually, like, I'm struggling with the story I tell myself is I'm making way more than I thought, but I'm not being strategic in finding out what the option of the slice of the pie is to reset my anchor. Like right now, I know my anchor, I have a false base anchor. Like I need to be figuring out where to recast it. And so I'm like, measuring growth is challenging because my numbers are increasing, my members are increasing, my building size, et cetera. But because I'm not crystal clear on like what my competition is or like where I should be, I'm kind of just loose leaf growing. And so then that almost feels like failing because I don't have like targets and benchmarks. And
so let me translate something. Go back to some slides for me. Go back to course slides. Go. Slow down right there. Go back to that one right there. Okay. The reason you missed some of that. Oh no, go back a little bit further. Go back to Dead Alive. That one. By the way, Danielle, if you're listening, cold-blooded slide. You're a cold piece of work, girl. That's cold. First thing is first. So your dead time is your scouting time, right? Your dead time is your scouting time. You're so curious about competition in the industry, not local competition only. I'm talking about global. Anybody that's in your industry, I need to know what the hell is going on at all times. That's going to help you. That's going to allow you to calibrate your current anchor. Shift to the next one. Next one. However, survivor mindset has stopped you this whole fucking time. You and Kaja got to be careful with that shit. Because as you guys go defensive, protective, and whatever, you only see yourself. You don't see others. You become like a falsely made narcissist. I mean that you're maybe not really a narcissist, but you move like that because you're protective, right? Even when you're around people, you're going to do comparisons and you won't even know you're doing it. You're like, say you meet another business owner that has a gym. You're like, oh, how you do it? Oh, this is why I do it. Let me show you what I'm doing over here. You're so busy in trying to impress them what you're doing, you're missing the opportunity to extract information. Also, you may even avoid, this is real shit, you may avoid looking at the data because the data hurts you, because it tells you where you really are. So it's easier to look at the data that makes you feel good and avoid the data that makes you feel bad. So in the end, the way you feel about yourself and your survivor mindset stops you from exploring the necessary data to do the necessary analysis to understand where you sit in the market and what work you really have to do. Because in your mind, it feels good to feel that you're great. You know, like, have you ever seen somebody who can't sing, could swear up and down they can sing, and they only want to hear from other people who reinforce their singing? They don't really want to ever go around people who really can sing, because it's almost depressing to them because they're enjoying the status benefits, the status currency from feeling like they're great amongst the people who think they're great. So This is why that self-work is necessary. Going back to why a lot of these strategies don't work if you don't do the self-work. If you're not doing the self-work, you can't go down those pathways because it kind of hurt. And two, you lead with curiosity. I think the curiosity is in there somewhere. Curious, open-minded, always learning. That's scouting in itself. If you're always curious, but why can't you be curious, open-minded, and always learning? Because defensive, protecting, walls, my stories, all those type of things. So even if you get the exposure and the data set in front of you, you won't absorb it. Your brain will even change it to make yourself feel good. You see where I'm going with this? This is just cold-blooded. Beautiful question, by the way. Cold-blooded because the psychology of the individual who's seeking the information has to be comfortable walking amongst the giants. Watch this. We had a dope conversation. I'm gonna get into the details, but me and Shakina had a dope conversation over the holiday weekend, and she was like, "How come I didn't pick this thing up?" And I said, "Well, because when this thing appeared in front of you, she did a comparison, or she did a defense statement, right?" I said, "What is not natural for her because of where she came through in her survival." I'm gonna make this cleaner in a second. Is what I usually do when I sit amongst a giant. I go, "Damn, how can I be a giant? What is it gonna take?" And then I realize when I'm around the giant and the giant tells me this is the way they do it, I'm not gonna like it because I'm small, not because the giant's wrong. So I'm gonna question why I don't like something and then deal with that and sometimes even override it because I realize I'm small. He's a giant. So these disciplines that I like is small disciplines. But if I want to become a giant, I'm gonna have to make these adjustments, right? Some of y'all can't get there because when you run amongst a giant, I'm just as tall as you. You're not the only one big. Are you small shaming? Oh my God, I don't like people like you. Oh my God, shut the fuck up and learn from the giant because you could become one. And that's something that's a hidden thing in your brain that's so powerful that you may have sat amongst giants before and you was either doing this to the giant. Giant. Look. See this line I draw? I could be tall just like that one day. Matter of fact, I've even designed some stuff. Look at this piece of art I designed. Matter of fact, I even got this new clothes I brought this tall. Okay, I guess it's time for you to leave. Okay, well, bye. You never asked a giant a goddamn thing. Because in the end, you felt, I'm going to impress the giant so at least he can maybe see me as a giant, even though I'm not a giant. And if the giant says, hey, that shirt you brought, it's actually not a giant size. Oh, don't judge me. Don't judge me. See, this is why I don't. See, it's hard to be in the presence of a giant because at the end of the day, it's hard to be judged by you like that. You see what I did? You think it stops right there. It doesn't. It's how you're moving in the world and you don't see it. And every time you trigger, it comes on and you don't even turn it on. It's just, And you miss all these observation, insight, opportunities because you shut them down with the way you feel about yourself. That's why the feedback game was so important. We kept saying, Kaja, get that feedback, because it's really an exercise that allows other information to come in that allows you to re-anchor yourself, reset that standard, reset that structure. Yeah, sure. No, this is a conversation for you because this is some basic shit. And I promise you, that shit I'm starting to see with like black folks. I know, look, every black person I ever met that's in business are great people. I think Shakina's brilliant as fuck. Kaja, I every time you come around, I think I praise you more than I even give you comments. Like we talk about this business stuff, we go back and forth. But you know how much I love you. You know how much I respect you, how much I value you. I don't meet too many business people. I think you're just a bad person. Every once in a while you meet some, we know some, but you don't say that most of the time. They don't know. They're not intentionally fucking up. They don't know. They can't feel it because no one is holding them to accountable for their position. No one's saying, man, we got to support black businesses even though you suck. I ain't buying shit from you. Straight up. I promise you, I ain't buying shit. Now, your shit's tight? Oh, I'm the fastest. Like, okay, I went to Fern's shit. Fern has always had nice shit. I don't know if y'all went to Fern's last event.
Yeah.
That shit was on fire. I walked in that motherfucker, man. I still ain't finished talking about it yet. I'm gonna tell y'all again, that shit was hot. You understand me? And so I praised that performance, and I recognize the discipline and the focus and the attention that's required for her to get there. And the cool part says, when me and her talk, she ain't nowhere near where she want to be. She ain't satisfied. And I fucks with her. Fern can call me on a Sunday morning when I'm in the middle of a bar mitzvah. I don't know what day is. Where's bar mitzvah? What day is bar mitzvah on? 13th, okay, whatever day. Whereas we had a bar mitzvah, having a great time, and I'm over there talking to Jesus, and a friend called, tell him, hey, I'll be right back. But you know why? Because I respect her growth, her power, her force. But a lot of us, sometimes people call me, and I promise you, I somehow just drop my phone and can't find it. And then when the phone starts ringing, I pick it up. Right? And why is that? Because I know at the end of the day, you're going to come with some weak shit I got to sit through. And I deal with you like, no, you don't, oh, shit, well, I can't find my phone. Still free. All right, I found it. Oh, I'll call it later. I ain't never calling you back. Him, her, all. He, she, they, straight, trans, whatever. I'm not calling none of you motherfuckers back. And it's not that, and oh, by the way, too, when I say soft, let me be very clear. If somebody's stupid enough to think I'm talking about straight and gay or trans or whatever this shit, let me put it in the language of my French cousin. We don't give a fuck about that. Because some of the dopest people I know are everything. I mean everything. We have a company that's built on merit, and we hang out with the dopest people no matter where the fuck you come from. I don't give a fuck about that kind of shit. I give a fuck about how you show up. Some of the strongest men I ever met was gay. Yeah, I'm like, what? Yes. Some of the strongest men I ever met was gay. Gay men, not gay women. So somebody, when I say soft, I'm talking about how you show up to the moment and how you crumble at friction. How you think when something's hard, it's time to quit. How being soft is just your world. And I know some men right now who tell you they hella masculine, they soft as shit. Like the dude who called me with that shit about the white man that's trying to, you better shut your ass up and go run. Go ahead, Kaja.
So it's no secret that I've struggled with feedback, right?
Yes.
I mean, I actually like the Giants, and I like the data.
Give me a
right?
second.
Listen.
Go ahead.
Right.
You hit me my stuff.
All right,
I wasn't ready
sorry.
for this one. Go ahead.
I like the Giants, and I like the data. I just finished doing a whole data analysis today, in fact, because I feel like I had enough of selling something to now have some aggregate data, right? This is a plus and minus for me because I'm realizing that my problems with feedback are based in a deep, deep trust that I have in myself, so that I will hear your feedback, but I feel that ultimately I know what is best for me, or I'm able to manage the consequence of a wrong decision. So when I look at this slide, some of the most focused action I've taken or the calculated risks were because I think my deep sense of self-trust is what makes it hard for me to accept the feedback, not an unwillingness to see the giant as the giant or to think that you know everything, because I don't feel that way either. But I do feel like I trust myself enough to navigate what I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that's right.
Wait, that was a contradiction, right? I don't know everything, but I trust myself.
To navigate the failures.
No, I'm saying you trust yourself to make the decision outside of the feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know everything. Now, I'm gonna light this up real quick because this is the best shit you're gonna ever smoke. It might realign you.
Right, willing to take on consequences, and I feel myself
No, but I'm saying that, okay, there's enough consequences for you to go around, right? Don't add to the table. However, the goal is there's still a game called velocity. And you're not turtle like you're going to win. You turtle like you tripping, right? You don't just create problems. That's one, right? Two, you're micro thinking about this. You're not macro. Let me go bigger. Micro is I feel, then they, and then I, and then they, and then I. You forget you live in a world that's always changing and nothing's going to stay the same, and there's big players in the game and a lot of fucking competition. That's macro. It's a whole bigger system up here, right? And if you gain some momentum and you finally have to surf this different ocean and you still have this kind of conversation, you're going back down here. You'll be back down here. Man, you'll be in a space of feeling good, but your pocketbooks be like, and now you're getting that 50 years at Google award. right? And so reality is that the reality is like, well, I've been an entrepreneur for 50 years with Google. That's who I am. But so what I'm saying to you is that when you get out in this game, first of all mistakes are not equal. Some mistakes are game ending. Also, don't think small mistakes are lesser than big mistakes. Sometimes it's the opposite. The smaller ones are worse than the bigger ones. 3 is that there is no game called entrepreneurship alone. You don't win this game alone. You just don't. Not only do you make mistakes with customers, you start losing valuable employees, and without great talent, you don't win this game. So you're gonna have to become more curious and turn yourself down. Now, if self-confidence is bothering you, then hack your confidence. Hack it. Figure out where does this shit start with? It might be, I hate my cooking. I can't cook for shit. I eat the shit, but I don't want nobody coming to my house because I can't cook. Matter of fact, I don't go to parties because they may ask me to bring something because I can't. I'm making them fictitious, but it's something deeper, like whatever it is for you. I don't date because the motherfucker might get hungry. I didn't want to have a kid because at the end of the day, the child, when they come off the breast milk, they want me to cook something, and I just know I just fucking can't cook. And you start to spin up all these stories that compound and become such a heavy weight on you to the point that you're trapped in a lifestyle that feels like, and then this is what it turns into. It goes from being trapped to, you know what, I don't give a fuck about no kids, no boyfriend, fuck them weak ass parties at the end of the day and shit. I don't want motherfuckers over my house with their dirty ass shoes. They may bring them dirty ass dogs and cats. You flip the language around, right? When all it means is just go take a cooking class or go hang out with your cooking ass friends and learn how to cook and build your confidence up. And all of a sudden you unravel a lot of those stories and a lot of those beliefs and positions. But as long as you continue to underserve the thing that causes the weakness in you, then you will have these defensive ways to protect your heart, protect your mind, protect your sanity, protect your mental health. But ultimately, you're compensating. So there's something. I don't know what it is because the hard part about reading people like you is that you show up so fabulous. You're always fabulous. Like, I'm not talking about just looks, not just talking about your classes, your shoes, and things like that, but also the way you present, the way you speak to people is fabulous, right? So we can't really read you. Now, your closest friend can have a different conversation with you.
Hey, could I get some?
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, too, is this. There's one slide I didn't talk about. I'm going to go through next week, but just go through the last slide right there. Fools learn from experience. Any fool can learn from their own mistakes. If we're playing the work game, like the corporate world game, that's learning from our mistakes. We'll have a great life. Playing the entrepreneur game, there's not enough time to learn from your own mistakes. You'll be 100 years old by the time you learn all the things you need to learn to run a successful business. You have to acquire the skill to learn from the experience of others, because it's too much shit. It's 2-3 lifetimes worth of shit to learn to be an entrepreneur. So that's why you have to partner yourself with people and learn from them. The second thing is, what can humble you is looking at your situation. What are my results? And not through the ego filter to say, all right, how long have I been going at this? And what are my results compared to the market? And if there's people out there that's smoking you, then you have to have a conversation with yourself. Because if you say, at this pace, I'm going to reach my goal in 2109, and it's too late then. I need to partner with people, like he said, to hack the game, to skip steps, learn from people so that you can get it. The learning from your mistake shit that's whack. That's regular. That's one lifetime, and that's mediocre. Entrepreneurship, if you want to play millions, the way you play it is learning, is how'd you do it? And it's the little idiosyncrasy, tiny little things that you would have never found out if you would have never partnered with nobody.
Let me do a couple of priming highlights just real quick. This is on my list. It's not on it. He's go back to that priming thing. So I'm going for a couple of things, just so, because some of y'all here, you know what I noticed about teaching this class? Shabisha, people hear what they want to hear. They hear what they want to hear. You know, they hear, like say silence at home, silence they hear, yeah, you know, silence is magnificent. He's like, man, class was wonderful. Now, I love the way you highlighted. But if I say, you know, silence socks stink, he'd be like, I missed that part. People hear what they want to hear, right? so let me just keep it 100 here. I'm going to go over a couple of just simple things. One, these are basics for your business. Cleanliness. Keep that motherfucking space clean, black people. Be leaders in cleanliness. Cut that shit out. Don't make your office look like East Oakland. Cleanliness. Or 580 freeway. Have you ever been on 580 freeway then went to 680? That shit is night and day. Bruh.
It's a longer conversation, but I went to a bank today in Walnut Creek to meet with a fiduciary. And that experience.
Grab the microphone. Just say that real quick, because I want folks to hear. I don't want folks to think you lying. I think it might come over ventriloquist.
I went to a bank today in Walnut Creek to meet with a fiduciary on behalf of somebody close to me. Yeah. Wildest, humbling experience I've ever had. No friction, completely. I was intimidated. I was like, damn, okay, this money talking right here. It was a world I've never ever seen in Oakland. It was wow.
A whole different world. So, number one, cleanliness. Two, don't you have no dirty ass windows. Remember, customers are walking by, windows stay clean. If you have to get there an extra hour every morning, clean your goddamn windows. Clean your windows. Clean your damn windows. Furniture. Stop going to the secondhand store that no one goes to find some shit that nobody wants. There's different. You go to Craigslist. Look, when I first started with 5T Media, I used to go to Craigslist every 2 or 3 years and find. I was on Craigslist for 2 months, just checking record. And when I found a dope ass couch for like that would regularly sell for like $2,000, I get it for like $600. Pick that shit, put it in a van. That'd be the new office couch for like 2 years, and then switch out. Always switch your furniture after a certain amount of time. Don't keep the same ass furniture forever. You want customers who come back, who have a repeated relationship, feel like their company is always growing and being progressive. Stop looking like your grandfather's company. Or your company should be called Texaco or some shit. Packaging. Pay attention to your packaging. Your packaging is priming your costs. Raggedy pack, and when I say packaging, not, oh, I got this cool box with a logo. Open your own fucking packaging and see what it feels like. Like experience your own, ship yourself your own shit. What does it look like after you've been through UPS? Did the box deform itself? Think about packaging, people. Y'all won't compete with these white people? I'm tired of y'all be trying to talk about white people and y'all run y'all raggedy shit. Run your shit. Don't worry about this shit.
Sir, you are in full black grandmother mode.
Go ahead.
On the packaging side too, I would say your digital packaging is just as important too.
Yes.
Having a good CRM where people are getting a nice invoice where they can pay you in any damn way they want to pay you, be it credit card, check, wire transfer, etc. And all that's on the invoice, and all they got to do is push the little button and it's seamless. That removes so much friction.
It's worth it. And I'm gonna talk about contingency next week, which will show you how to do that even better. The way you dress in your interaction with your customers. Now, if you in the cave and you working your boxers in a t-shirt and one bowl in your hair, fuck it. That's how you get down. But when you're in front of your customers, think about what is the best way to dress to impress the customer to spend the most money in my business, to make them feel most trustworthy, most comfortable, and feel like they're the best business place to be in. Stop bringing I don't give a fuck to your office. Your lighting, people. Spend money on your lighting. Yes. Raggedy fluorescent lights that's flickering will fuck up not only your mind, but it's gonna fuck up your customer's mind. Cut that shit out. Clean your bathrooms and work on nice bathrooms. And if something's broken, fix that shit. Do not have a pair of pliers next to the hot water. Don't tell me to go back in there and jiggle the handle when I leave the toilet. But I'm not, y'all think I'm bullshitting. This shit's real for black businesses. There's some people in this class, yes, I'm talking to you too. Y'all know the fuck, I've been in your businesses. I told you that shit was raggedy. I don't give a if you just have a private office. If I walk in your private office, make me feel like, oh, this is why y'all get down. You're competing, people. You fucking in competition. This is not a chance for you to display that you're a good person or you're valuable. You're in competition. Your equipment, whatever equipment you use, make sure you spend equipment based upon its brand value. I remember one time I taught this to all my photographers. When you show up, set up. Set up a look that customers go, oh shit. Even if you open up your case, your cameras, lay that shit out like it's nothing but expensive shit in here. I'm taking beautiful pictures. Am I lying?
No, you're the reason why I always have extra lights set up that I might not have used for the shoot. I bring the production card out. I lay my hard case out with all my camera equipment all nice and organized, just so when the client comes in, they're like, "Oh shit!" I pull the rolling rack out for the clothes. I turn the vanity light on, even if they don't need it.
It's all about priming a person experience that says, I remember one time I set up a shoot when I was doing photography, and the client said to me, hey, do we have enough money for this dude? Oh, you should. I had a softbox that was about 7 feet. And it's like big old softback, big old heavyweight stands. You have to roll it up and crank it up and lights set up and all kind of shit. And I'm sitting there talking to him, you know what I'm saying? CEO walks in. He literally turns to the next thing and says, do we have enough money? Can we afford him? This is a bio company. This wasn't your uncle. It's a bio. They got real cash. Can we afford him? Pay attention to small details. Mashama used to have this exercise. Stand up on a table, look around. Right? Get in different positions in your office so you can look at your office from different angles. And pay attention to small things. There could be one thing on a person that she like, hey, she's like, Tina, next week, can you just not put it in your desk again? That's going to impact the way the customer feels when they walk through the door. I need this place to feel like this. And it still can be personal. I can have some personal shit in there, but it still has to meet a standard that you set forth. Knowledge of your field. Know your industry. If you talk like somebody who admires your industry, not somebody on the inside, if you ever talk to somebody who played basketball opposed to somebody who's an admirer of basketball, it feels like two different conversations. Same thing, whatever field you're in, know your fucking industry. Graphic designs. People, let your nephew go to school first. Let them get a job first, get some experience. Stop telling your nephew he's a lead designer for your company. And stop thinking you could do graphic designs because you got a computer and you know how to use Microsoft Word. How you interact online with people. At all times, your personal space and your online space. Watch everything you post. It needs to have a plan behind it. Don't ever post from impulses. Oh, I'm gonna throw this up. I'm gonna throw that up. No, you're a business now and you're a business owner. Think about every fucking thing you do online is a strategy. All that impulsive shit, those days are over. You're not 16-year-old. Get over your fucking self. If I see one more selfie, get your ass off the line and go focus on business. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just warming up.
I feel like I'm gonna get a spanking for this, but
You understand me?
okay. So like, I feel like I probably know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it for the people that's thinking what I'm thinking. Cause it's so loud though.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So I know when you're a business owner that like you're not your brand and your brand isn't you, but you have impact on your brand. So like, let's say, you know, like I have, my company is Pinpoint and I'm Shakina and I have 2 separate social medias. Now I would never post any blasphemy on my personal page because like, I know that there's an extension of me where people will judge my business based on my persona. But like, if I just decided to post like a random picture of my motorcycle, there needs to be a strategy behind that on my personal page, even if it has nothing to do with my business because my business has its own page.
I didn't say no, don't.
Well, I'm saying like if I take a selfie with my daughter or if I post a motorcycle pic or a food pic on my personal page.
But you got to also ask yourself, what kind of person is doing this? What are you getting from that? Play with that for a second.
Well, for me, the importance is the separation between person and business.
No. You're a grown person now. You're not 20.
Well, no. I understand that.
So let's get over because okay, like if you become a doctor, do you have restrictions? in your life? If you're a doctor?
Yes.
Okay. If you become the president of the United States, you live by everybody else's standards?
No.
Okay. If you're CEO of a company, do you get a chance to live by everybody else's standards?
No.
Why do you shrink yourself like that?
Well, not attempting to shrink myself.
Okay. I want to hear it.
So if I am, that's not my intention, and I will review that. The way that my brain is breaking it down is, okay, I'm very type A with how I show up in my business, like how I dress.
Right.
I'm always matching all the things. I'm like super.
Yes.
Everyone's ever worked with me, they're like, Shakina, be on it.
Don't work with you.
When I'm home, I'm human.
No, you're not. Are you a leader or not?
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're leaders. We're always leaders. We don't get a chance not to be leaders. We can have fun being leaders. But unfortunately, you don't get to tell the world how to see you. So you play the game to get the role, but now you want to be normal again. You don't get to be both. You know, if me and Court get private to ourselves, we could talk some shit. We can even get to some old pimp shit if we wanted to. Because we both come from that world. You know me, I celebrate Atlanta clubs. So in the end of the day, I can speak with that tone if you get me into my private space. But I know goddamn well I can't never be me at all times. Every time I meet, it's a strategical choice because everybody can't handle whatever you are. Because people are telling, okay, you said you're branding, which that means I'm creating the story of who I am, which that means just like in actors, 99.9% of actors are not who you see on the screen. Even who you see at the award show is an act. Who you see on a talk show or a podcast is an act, right? Like, I didn't know Richard Pryor was gay. I had no signs of it.
I just found out.
Right? And Rudy Ray Moore was gay. And Rudy Ray Moore took more pictures with white women having sex than anybody I know, right? But these men were happily gay men, right? The reality is that when you're working with the public, you can't say, public, give me a life I want to have. But then don't serve the public in the story they tell themselves to give you the life you want to have. So even when you at home, your child now sees you as a leader and they judge you by a different standard if you just had a 9-to-5 job putting groceries on a shelf at Safeway. Your neighbors, because you know why too? There's privileges you get from being that leader and respect you get from being that leader that you have to protect that. Because the first day somebody comes along like, oh, hey honey, with your little cute ass. And you're looking like, wait, I'm a leader. Wait, how have you been showing up? And if you have this side where you shrink yourself to play with, the thing is, accept your growth, accept your greatness, and realize your greatness comes with restrictions. I put a podcast out there, dope ass podcast. I know a lot of y'all didn't listen to it because y'all be listening to that happy-go-lucky part of the podcast, like the black dude who was giving us some dope. It was a good podcast, but it was not enough. I put a podcast about the unenforceable laws. And he said, like, you amongst high gentleman level, they would say, that's not very gentleman of you. Mm-hmm. That's all they had to say. And the law was enacted, and we would all follow that law. A gentleman of that level didn't get a chance to act like a commoner. Sorry. You don't get to marry them motherfuckers. You don't get to hang out with them. You don't get to go to certain places because you're protecting the power you built. And that power provides you with a lifestyle and choices and options. So you don't get to be anything you want to be when you chose a profession. Now, if you ain't doing nothing and you at the bottom of the game and you you work at Safeway, okay, I gotta put these cans orderly next to each other. You can do a lot of shit. Nobody trips. You can literally be a stripper at night and people be like, I don't really see the connection. It don't matter. But people, you hear Court all the time talk about, when I was a kid, I didn't have these kind of male figures, so I followed these entertainers. What the fuck you think you doing? What do you think some kids gonna do to you? Right now, there's some kids that you will never see their faces and know their names. I'm going, man, if Shakita could do it, I can do it. So everything you do is a priming process of shaping how people need to interact with you. You know what okay, I'm gonna get even deeper. Y'all ready for this second? If you think the goal is the bag, you don't understand the fuck we doing. The goal is a plethora of rich relationships based upon high levels of integrity, trust, and value. Why? Because if Pinpoint goes away tomorrow, there's 1,000 people waiting to recruit you, to collaborate with you, invest in you and everything because of the way you showed up to whatever the fuck you was doing. So every day you are playing optionality of saying, I want to increase my value, my integrity, how I show up in society. So if this doesn't work out, I can speed up hella fast because I always say is, hey, I lost my business. I'm looking for this investment. People are like, oh my God, we're on our way to help you because we believe in you. Or you can call somebody up and be like, hey, Court, I see you're part of your business. You're not really running strong enough. I think I can run it. I want to do a negotiation for you. Can I own 50% of that portion of the business? I can guarantee I can grow it this large. And if he knows you that kind of beast, he's like, where did you sign the paper at? But let's say you run the business and you kind of like all over the place and you Mickey, Ficky, and everything else. And you lose your business. Court be like, man, that's really sad. What happened to her? All right, I can try to give you a job or something. That's the best I can do. What can I rustle for you? Hey, slow down. You ain't ready for all that yet. That's your fault, actually. So, yes, everything when you decide to become a leader, you don't get to be free and tell my story and do what I want to do. You find your small circle, you tell your story right there. Because only people really give a fuck anyway, right there. And everybody else, hey, I'm good. See me next week on my next show. Oprah was going through some shit. Like when she was coming up. But most of the time she showed you, hey, everybody get a car. She didn't show up her show inconsistently. Welcome to Oprah Winfrey's show. This heifer better say something I want to hear, otherwise this shit gonna be over real fast. How you doing? Hi, welcome to my show. That's the world you live in, your leader. There is no separation no more. When you go to the grocery store, your next investment may be sitting there at the grocery store. You never know where they are. You can't predict that shit. And so I'm always moving with integrity. Like you say, I'm always moving with integrity. I'm always thinking about how I show up, how I position myself. And when you first do it, it doesn't seem like nothing's changing right away. And then one day people start, like, they'll start whispering back to you like, yeah, no, don't do that shit. Oh, no, I don't want to permit that. No, I won't accept that. No, he won't. Don't even invite him. He'll never do that. My brand is starting to work. And that's all you really are, is a brand. When you start saying, I'm going to do me, do you know, I realize that me is always changing? There's really no ever just one version of me. So even when you say I'm trying to do me, it's never the same. But your brand needs to be something that people can hold on to and identify. They can't hold on to the always changing, always evolving, all of this stuff and the other. And it doesn't mean you can't have those lifestyles. Let's say you were just a downright freak of the freaks. You take this little small circle and say, hey, y'all, we doing the freaky stuff this week? Okay, cool. Like, I think they say Jamie Foxx is like that. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is the implied message. And guess what? No one will ever hold Jamie Foxx guilty for being that person in that space, because to us, he's a fun-loving, great, amazing actor / comedian / singer / super talent, right? And that's the brand we get to hold on to. We don't get to hold on to what he did in a little freaky circle. I don't want to hear about that freaky circle. I want to fall in love with that. And it quite honestly, you give people who hate against you fuel when you give them everything about
you. A good example of that, I help Marquita a lot at the vending events for That's My Jam, and interacting with the product a lot online. And I was in Napa one day, and I just heard a woman out of nowhere say, hey, that's my jam, to me. Marquita wasn't there, it's me. And I realized exactly what she said in that moment. That's not even my business, but because people have a visual association, had I been in Napa falling out drunk, acting a fool, people would have made that association. So I see that a lot on Instagram, where people have a business page and a personal page. And you do what you do on your personal page, but when I go to look at your business, I can't help but make a mental association with what I saw you doing over here.
If you were, say you were homophobic, and you got online and said, I hate these goddamn somethings, you think it would hit your profit margin? So it can't be separate. If it's not separate, then why are you not maximizing it? Why are you not giving people a version of you they need to see, to value, to one day an investor comes to you out the blue? It really wasn't, but it feels like it's out the blue because you've been doing your brand work that says, if you're going to invest in anybody in Oakland, oh, I'm that person. You're changing, you're priming the pathway you're on, as opposed to that independent social justice argument shit. That's not your argument. That's just not your shit. You're a grown ass, powerful human. You're a leader now. You're doing leadership. So now, if you don't want to be a leader, just say, fuck it. I'm going to let this person run Pinpoint. I'm going to work for them. And then I'm going to go online. I'm going to do my thing. Y'all just love what the fuck I do. And when I say, why do you do it? You got to ask yourself, are you seeking something when you do that? And does that hurt your business? And that's a very powerful question. Let me finish this list. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Saying real quick is you might need an outlet, because that's what it sounds like. Because we all do. So that you might need an outlet. And if the thinking might be, I get to show my side to the world of how I am in real life, you might just need another outlet besides that, because you're branding the whole time. Because you think you're showing Shakina, but everybody's seeing Pinpoint. Everybody's seeing Pinpoint. That's your Pinpoint. You know what I'm saying? So there's outlet sides to it, but like he said brilliantly, we're always branding. Once we decide, and I've tried to duck around it too, and hide behind and put people in front of me, but it doesn't. Sorry, that's the game we in.
And you became a leader. Like, you grew a bigger version of yourself. And I need you to really see, it's almost like, those movies when you build a mega robot and you get in a robot and now it's this bigger version of you and they can move just like you. I need you to get in your robot and run that motherfucker. And stop standing on the side talking about, man, I got a big ass robot and it's just me over here. Well, who the motherfucker robot for? Me, but it's just hella big though. It's you. You hella big.
But my understanding, and I could be totally wrong, which is why I'm starting with my understanding of building the big robot, is to build something that's strong and adaptive so I can get out the way and someone else can run it. Like, I have no desire to be in my company forever.
That's not even connected. That's not connected. That's not connected. You're connected to, okay, so let me be very clear. You're never going to escape that robot. Even when you get bigger, there's going to be investigators, like reporters will be like, oh, did y'all see what the head of Pinpoint Gyms is doing over here? Right? She over there trying out the strip clubs, and Nana's like, too late. Boys, I'm supposed to, because you're 75. It's not the same. I just don't want to see it, She can't climb the pole. Okay, stop. But so, what I'm saying is that you can't be an investigator, and Republicans going to keep you alive. Investigators going to keep you alive. Because also you're an anomaly. You're not expected. People don't, when you perform and you're different than everybody else, you get hella benefits from that, right? But also people are also watching because there's a lot of more envy around you. The more powerful you get, the more envy is going to surround you. You got to live a life that can handle envy. Why do you think motherfuckers live behind closed gates? They're not living behind closed gates because they just like closed gates. Because other motherfuckers is going to make up a story. Two, how many times have you told a story about yourself that was or was not true, but it impacted your life? You built a powerful ass story for others. That's just who you are. You know, robots won. Okay, real quick. Two more, then we're going home. I never got to the rest of this. I might shit. I don't know. Invest. When you buy shit for your business, you're not buying shit for your business. You're not buying chairs. You're not buying tables. You're investing. You're going to get a return. And if you can't get a return, question the purchase. Everything you buy for your business should give you a return. New computers for everybody. If somebody walks in and sees all these beautiful Apple screens sitting up there, it says, oh, they serious about designs. If they see HP, Jesus Help Me, and my cousin put this shit together, y'all know what y'all doing? I'm keeping this shit 100 because I see it all the time. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to just fucking say it. And if somebody turned off my screen, just call them and tell them, hey, one day you'll be a wolf. Okay, last one. Your team. Your team needs to be the expansion of your brand. Scott is on my team. Josh is on our team. Dre, Mashama, Danielle, Tennille. Y'all ever interact with Tennille? Do y'all appreciate her professionalism? There's no other way that we show up. Fight Team Media moves a certain kind of way, in-house and out-house. There's a story we tell. There's invisible laws and unenforceable laws we created that ultimately allows the brand that when Tennille is in public and you get a chance to meet Tennille. Now, mind you, we had to find Tennille. Tennille ain't no everyday chicken. She's a bad motherfucker. Shut your mouth. Just talk about Tennille. So
Hey,
Tennille
man,
is bad as hell.
I'll knock somebody out for Tennille. For real, no question.
Look, and Scott's on the team and tell you, like, a team love us some Tennille, right? Tennille knows even in our downtime, if we're all at a festival, 5T ain't gonna be at the festival a certain kind of way. Shabisha is still a family, an honorary member that will never, she just can't leave the family. Am I lying, Shabisha?
This is true.
510 Media moves a certain kind of way that even if you never meet me, you met us, and we all feel like a branch of each other. But that means on a team, you got to train your team. You don't got somebody going, what is nodes? Motherfucker, you had a coffee space. You better know nodes or go back there and wash some motherfucking dishes. Straight up, right? 2, you got to create an internal story that everybody on the team believes in. If you don't have a rich story that we are climbing to the top of this mountain and this is our why, then you will never have that gelling power. 2, 3, you got to share in your wins. The wins ain't for you to sit there and call yourself a boss and you pull up a Lamborghini and everybody else got Hyundais from 1997. Meaning that because in order for people to participate in the win, they got to share in some of the profits. You hear what I'm saying with this? You want to make your team sound with one voice. And that voice, as it goes out, we at 5T Media, we do this. We don't do it this way. When Tennille picked up cupcakes for court, I got 3 calls. She didn't make no assumptions. Because why? Hey, is it in alignment with, this is our brand, right? Is this place I want to go to, is that okay, right? Is this drink okay? Is that right? Okay, right? Anything else I need to change? When Marquita was here, Marquita said, I cussed her out one time because she put the wrong color table cover on my table. And I said, what is this shit? She poor, bless her heart. But they tell you what though, Marquita, if you ever go see her That's My Jams, when she lays her shit out. Mm-hmm. Am I lying?
Mm-hmm. I bet you now she understands.
Yeah, now she understands like a motherfucker. Marquita ain't playing with nobody either. She takes that shit just as serious because she understands the importance of how her Marquita looks. Have you ever seen Marquita when she sell her shit? Mm-hmm. Now, Marquita, in case you're listening or somebody decide to tell you to listen to the end of the tape, yes, I'm talking shit. I've seen Marquita on her bad days. You know I have, right? I mean, we've been on retreats together. She come up, wake up in the morning, you know, this stuff come out her eyes, right? If you catch Marquita selling, you like she's about to go into some kind of fashion magazine. Mm-hmm. Looking, hair, makeup, face. I walk up on her and be like, God damn, Dime. I call it, she's like my sister, so I call her Dime, but it's like I call it, you know, all my sisters could be Dimes, but for those of you at home, like, oh, he be flirting with his employee. No, I tell my employees they're beautiful, and they know that's all we're about to do, right? Josh. Shut the hell up, Josh. Josh, I will tell you you're beautiful when you get your feet done. Anyway, point is this. So, but the point I'm saying is that Marquita, if you look at the way her hair looks, her makeup looks, her smile, y'all seen her smile when she's selling That's My Jam? She makes like That's My Jam's the only jam in the world you should ever taste. You see her before she got started, you see her website? You see how gorgeous she looked? Marquita makes sure that what you see on the website is what you're about to find in person. I've never seen her look lesser than her website, and she's fabulous on her website. She don't show up with that morning breath. She don't show up in her pajamas underneath her apron. You hear me? I'm telling you all this shit because I'm proud of the people I do see performing. And there was somebody in 510 Media that was in this class. I won't call their name. I went to a restaurant and I told them this shit is trash. Tears in your motherfucking seat. This display, the stuff, the product was good. It was decent. It wasn't great. But I told them this shit's trash, bro. The business went away. And I told them, I didn't give a fuck. Because I care about you, that's why. See, I don't go to crush you. I come to tell you something, I come to push you up the hill and you're gonna get some scratches. You see the difference? Oh, it's gonna hurt, but you're going up. I never, ever, ever, ever. If you ever talk to me, I will never work to tear any human being down. Not black folks. You can go cash that in the bank. Now you might say he hurt my feelings. Well, god damn it, you soft. But I was definitely pushing you up that goddamn hill. Have I ever tried to tear you down? Tina, have I ever tried to tear you down? Scott, ever tried to tear you down?
I'm white.
Hey, yo, I said, Scott,
I'm just here so I
Scott
won't get
said,
fined.
I'm white.
We had like one or two hot moments, but no, it's always been the best interest.
Yeah, always in best interest. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I've been around the class before it was an entrepreneur class, and honest to God, like, we joke about Nana being like meaner or whatever, but even in Nana's quote unquote mean days, like, you seen more growth back then because Nana was more raw. So the people that really wanted to do some shit went out and did some shit, and they stuck around. Like, the only reason why I became who I was because Nana and them used to take hella shots at me, but they made me hella strong. I'd be like, oh, damn, y'all hella fucked up. Okay. And I'll come back and come back and come back. But it made me stronger. And a lot of times when I'm talking to the new people, they be like, but it hurt my feelings. And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to make it in the world, because in order to make it in the world, you got to be able to take those gut shots. And we're just so sensitive that we're not building ourselves up to have that resistance and the grit for business. So I appreciated you when you was mean, because it made me stronger.
Josh, remember the first time you kidded me about your photography? Go ahead, give him a microphone. Give Josh a microphone real quick. I'm not gonna. No, when Josh first came to me, Josh was like, "Yo, look at my portfolio." I was like, "Yo, dude, this shit's trash. It's fucking trash." But I think I'm just as good as you. You lost your fucking mind. This shit's whack. This is how I used to talk, right? Josh didn't miss a class. I'm straight up. Josh is hella good. All of us have growth. All the artists on the team have growth. But Scott can tell you, Josh came from zero to the point respectable, enjoyable work.
Very impressive work, man.
Very impressive. I mean, like, he has his own little twist because he's weird. But his weirdness is dope as fuck. His work is dope as fuck. His video, he did a video project for me, and we couldn't make it to it. He went out and did it. He brought the work to me. I was like, yeah, boy. Right? All the people who went to the fire when I was teaching photography, I love all their work. Scott got it from me for the longest. Scott did this thing for a group of motorcyclists. I can't say their name because he's some NDA type bullshit, but a group of, okay, he did a big old photo shoot for the Hells Angels for, I think it was like a whole year or something, or 2 years or something. A couple years. I wish I could see those pictures. Hopefully one day he'll just share them and say, fucking amazing work. But I wasn't hard because I wasn't trying to push people down. I knew that when people came in front of me, I had to get past your fucking ego. And your ego made you feel like you was the greatest person or nobody could tell you shit and you couldn't wait to snob somebody. And I was like, you're trash. I'm going to just speed this up as fast as I can. Nothing in your portfolio will I ever want to look at again. And I will help you get better. You ready to do this or not? Because right now, that shit you walk around with, your mom is the only person like that shit.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
To put into perspective of what he was saying with like details, the worst thing anybody on any team that I put together can tell me is before we do it is that's great idea. Because I hear a lot of idealism or people want to be like pick me and not give me any criticism so they look like they look good or they think doing good is just acting nice. But when I come up to him with an idea, he'll tell me very unfiltered that it sucks, but he's telling me the things I need to know to be able to get what I need out to be effective. And so that's why when people hear stories about him being direct or almost to a funny extent, like in the Full Metal Jacket, the drill instructor, it's out of a place of love. And I've noticed if you don't give a fuck about somebody, you generally just don't talk to them. Mm-mm. But no, it's definitely worked.
Right on, man. Right on. Yo, so with that being said, that was the first intro of the basics. I didn't get to my fucking lesson again. I'm mad as hell. I really want to teach this deep shit, but the basics is so important. And at the end of the day, this shit ain't easy, people. Stop thinking the motivational speakers are telling you how this shit gonna feel. This shit, a matter of fact, Go get in a boxing match, get your ass whooped, and welcome to entrepreneurship. Because that shit's closer to that. With that being said, have a good night. Peace.